Oh, I love coming to Allianz Stadium, especially for a derby between South Sydney and the Roosters. Let's get the boys' tips officially for McDonald's. Macca's All Day Breakfast is here. Enjoy select products all day at participating restaurants. We might start with Piggy Riddell, who's down on the touchline. Piggy.
Yeah, Mark, I'm going to go with the Roosters. You have a look at their forward pack. I just think they'll be too strong through the middle for this South Sydney side. And I can tell you that both doctors have met, and there is going to be a drinks break at the 20-minute mark and the 60-minute mark for 1 minute.
All right, Piggy, beautiful, mate. How's the atmosphere down there? Looks like quite a few people still filing through the gates.
Yeah, look, it's filling up. Above you guys, it's pretty much full there. So we're going to have a great atmosphere down here at ground level, and so we should. Roosters versus the Bunnies. Not
too warm down there, mate?
Nah, it's beautiful. I will tell you, there is a decent breeze that is going to be from left to right. So whoever's running left to right, they're going to have a really strong breeze in the first half.
All right, Piggy, thank you, mate. We'll come back to you during the game when David Morrow swings into action for his call. Speaking of thirsty, your tip, please, sir. Thanks to McDonald's.
Well, I did tip South, so I've got to stick with them. But, gee, as I said, I hadn't really had a close enough look at who the Roosters had in. All I was thinking about is who the Roosters had out. But I'll stick with South. They've got players there that have played a lot of football together in recent years, and I just think they'll be too good.
All right, David, thank you very much. Looking forward to hearing you call all of the action. Darryl Broman's in co-commentary this afternoon. He loves a McDonald's all-day breakfast. They bring us your tip as well. Who do you like?
I'm tipping South. Even though I said before I didn't have a close look at the Roosters outfit, I still think Souths will win. I think just on the back of Inglis, he'll be fresh. He would have had a decent off-season. Like a lot of the rep players, first time for a number of years, they would have had a decent off-season, and I think he'll come back really refreshing. He's probably the best player out in the field. I'll tell you what is interesting, and this is something that really annoys me. 4 o'clock kick-off, it says in the program. It's just about 4 o'clock now, and both sides are still on the field warming up, so that tells me we'll be lucky to get this game underway at 4:10, which means I'm not going to get home till late.
Throw into the mixed drink breaks too, Darryl.
Exactly.
One more email here before we take one last break and come back with all of the action. Aidan, listening to us over in New Zealand. Keep up the great calling, guys. Listening to the call team from Gisborne, New Zealand. My dad's picking South Sydney by 4. I'm picking the Roosters by 8. Darryl, with it being tea time in New Zealand, we're sitting here with our fish and chops.
Fish and chops and a front on the front.
After your shout out on Friday night, it's how you Aussies say it funny, not us Kiwis. Enjoy Sunday footy, guys. Thank you very much.
They do say it funny.
Fish and chops.
And a friend on the fridge, as my man Basti knows about. He does a very good Kiwi accent.
Who's in the number 6 jersey?
It's a cross between Kiwi, English and Scottish. Friend on the front.
What about our listeners over in India listening to the continuous call team?
Oh, thank you very much.
What about America?
How you doing? Get Piggy to do that.
How's Arnie going?
Hi, I'm Arnie.
Phil Rothfield's here.
Phil Rothfield.
Piggy, you with us, Pig?
Yes, I am.
How's Hank the Yank?
He's gone.
He's Gonski. He's Gonski.
Well,
he's
mate,
brushed it already.
Well, mate, it's off season. He's off on holiday.
Thank you, Pig. These two teams about to make their way back into the dressing rooms as we lead up to kick-off. So we'll take one last break and we're back with all of the action as the Roosters take on South Sydney in round 1 of the Telstra Premiership. Your call team this afternoon, David Morrow, Darryl Broman and Mark Piggy Riddell on the sideline. Greg Inglis leads the Rabbitohs back into the dressing rooms. It's a fantastic crowd, a fantastic atmosphere here at Allianz Stadium. We're back with all of the action. You're listening to the continuous call team for Sunday afternoon footy. Welcome back, Allianz Stadium. The Roosters are still out there warming up. It's 4:05, so we're still, I reckon, at least another 3 or 4 minutes away from kick-off by the time they make their way back into the sheds. They don't even look like making their way back in yet. They're still going through their drills, Darryl, so they're definitely going to run late.
I'm tipping they'd be warm by now, wouldn't they?
Well, South Sydney are back in the sheds.
Yeah, they're still, as you said, they're still going through it. There's no sign of them going back in. Surely they must shortly, because really, I think this is ridiculous. If you're going to advertise, and we've said this for years, a 4 o'clock kick off at 4. Every other, professionally run sporting organisation in the world kick off on time.
Yep, it's the bugbear of a lot of people I run into in the street. And why can't the NRL, when they advertise a game to start at a certain time, kick off at that time? The AFL are spot on. Soccer around the world is spot on. Rugby union, for the most part, is extremely spot on.
I think you'll find the ground manager's just gone over to the Roosters trainer and said, mate, we got to go. You're still out here warming up. We should have kicked off 5 minutes ago. So obviously they're being told to get back into the sheds, the Roosters.
Scotty Campbell's gone over to tell one of the assistant trainers over there for the Roosters. Scotty's with the Roosters. And they're talking about something. And the ground manager doesn't look too pleased.
He's not happy, is he?
I think he's tough. He had the stopwatch on he had the watch out there.
He's had a big off-season too.
Leave him alone. Can we have a look at a couple of individual players before this game starts, Darryl? Sean Kenny-Dow, obviously it's been a turbulent 8 months for him. He was in court during the week and found not guilty of some domestic violence charges. We just saw his photo pop up on the big screen and a rousing applause from the supporters. I think for his sake, it's just good for him to get back into some football, and he ran out there with purpose when he came out for the warm-up.
Yeah, he played towards the end of last year. He did come back and play again. He played he had a fantastic year last year until all the drama came up, and then he missed a number of weeks through that, and then he did come back and play at the end. He's getting better as he gets older, and I think he plays better in the centres. I think he's a very good centre, but he's just a very good player in general. He'll have a big game today. He's a professional footballer, good at it, and he's in a solid side.
And Cody Walker for South Sydney making his NRL debut at 26. We've read about the stories about some of the drama he's been involved in, the injury concerns, losing members of his family in tragic circumstances. A 26-year-old making his debut for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Big raps on him, and Adam Reynolds, as Billy mentioned in the news a little bit earlier on, Adam Reynolds thinks he's going to be a very good acquisition for the South Sydney Rabbitohs in first grade.
Well, Thursday knows a bit more about him than what I do. I mean, 26 is very late to be making your NRL debut, but they obviously think he's a good player. I saw him in the Charity Shield. He was pretty good in that, without being brilliant, I didn't think. But we'll have to wait and see. I think you said he was a Player of the Year up in the Queensland
Cup. Yeah, when
Cup.
he played with East, it was Player of the Year 2013, I think it was. But I just know those on the North Coast, people that whose judgment I really trust have been saying for some years, if this bloke ever gets a chance to make it, he is something exceptional as far as talent they've produced in the north up there. Casino, I think that's the area Brian Smith hailed from originally, and there's there's a lot of good footballers come out of that region. Because Nathan Brown down the river a bit, another river from Casino. But the Clarence is where he came from, at the lower Clarence. Now, finally, the Roosters are leaving the field after being told on numerous occasions by the ground manager to get off and get ready for the game. I reckon the ground manager was blowing up in the end. He was telling all the trainers and the assistant trainers, and I don't know how many others they've got out there, you've got 1 minute, and then he kept, with the stopwatch, he kept saying 1 minute, and they kept saying 1 more. No, 1 minute. He was very, very animated in the end, basically telling them the rules are the rules. So I don't know whether they're going to get a fine here, the Roosters.
Well, they should fine him.
Well, if they've defied an order from the ground manager and not gone back in time for the game to start at the time they've been told to start, and I would figure that the game was meant to start at exactly 4:10, and the ground manager was getting rather edgy that they won't get out there on the field in time to start the match at 4:10.
Well, they should have done. Just run the Rabbitohs out there and kicked off.
Well, that's what the Rabbitohs did in 1909. Balmain didn't roll up for the grand final. The Rabbitohs did because they decided to play. It was, I don't know whether you know the story. They put it on as a curtain raiser for a Wallabies All Blacks game, and Balmain said, "Well, we're not going to play that. Our game's better than that." So they said they're not rolling up grand final day, and South Sydney did, and they gave the premiership to South Sydney. Yeah. So it's not the first time it's happened. Your knowledge amazes me. It's wonderful, wonderful. All right, so hopefully we'll have the teams coming out very, very shortly. South Sydney's been in the dressing rooms for a little while. They went out for an early warm-up, and then the Roosters came out, and then about 10 minutes later the South Sydney Rabbitohs went back into the dressing room. So whether or not the Rabbitohs have had something to say to the ground manager, which has forced him over to the Roosters to get them back in the sheds. I don't think they've said anything, because they just went back. I think they've probably been given a time. They've got to be back in the sheds. Then they get a 2-minute warning. Normally, I think still Darryl downstairs.
Yeah,
the bloke comes along and gives them a whistle or a knock on the door to say, away we go. And the ground manager realised that if he gives them a 2-minute warning, it's going to be near 4:15 than 4:10 for the kick-off. I can't imagine the Rabbitohs sitting there and just saying, OK, well, we can wait for them. I'm sure they're not too happy about it. But anyway.
Well, I've got breaking news for anyone wanting to watch the 6 o'clock news tonight on Channel 9. Good luck.
Won't be at 6 o'clock. And maybe that's part of it.
The 6:15 news with Peter Overton. They
did say last year that their news did get a big following because it started later than the opposition's, and therefore people stay with the footy. And it's a good marketing ploy. They go past the top of the clock.
Shan't be bagging Channel 9. Great station.
No, I'm not going to bag them at all. I mean, I think it's a great marketing ploy.
Any news down there, Peg?
Nah, not much at all. I'm just waiting for the kick-off.
Nearly nodded off, I think.
Yeah, I was half asleep then. You've just come down to me, but I'm awake now.
Yeah, I had my binoculars on you. I could see your eyes closed.
Yeah, it's been a long day, and you know I get weary.
I got you snoring.
Yeah, I was nodding off. I'm waiting for the footy to start.
Well, of course, we saw these cheer girls earlier going through an enormous routine in practice when we first arrived at the ground. Well, they've got to go through that routine yet, I think. Before, or is that the half-time routine?
They've already done that, mate.
Oh,
They did that about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, right.
I think.
I don't know.
The return of Sam Burgess is big for the Rabbitohs too. I mean, he's a popular figure, the Englishman. He's back in the NRL after that stint with Bath Rugby Union, so he'll no doubt come out with a purpose this afternoon, wanting to repay the faith of the South Sydney Rabbitohs. They're throwing big money at him, of course, to get him back in the red and green, but he's going to be a wonderful addition to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. They go for it anyway. And you look at the Sydney Roosters. I mean, Dylan Napa was impressive last year. Aidan Guerra, Mitch Orbison, he's unbelievable. He can play a number of positions. He's a workhorse for the Roosters, so it's a pretty even matchup. I know the Roosters are down on players, Darryl, but South Sydney, I mean, with Greg Inglis at the back, I think understandably they'll give themselves every opportunity to beat the Roosters, a team they haven't had a lot of recent success against.
Yeah, well, my memories of this is they actually had a bit of success with them early in the season. I thought they'd won the last few games. I said before, they've only won, I think, 3 of the last 8 times they've played them. I think they'll win 4 today. They're going to be 4 out of 9 after this. Look at Sammy Burgess. He looks massive. Playing in the front row, taking his brother's spot. Well, neither of the brothers playing, of course, but I agree with you. I think he'll have an impact right from the start. He'll want to get involved. He's back in the NRL and he'll want to make an impact straight away.
All right, South Sydney wearing black armbands for Martin Crowe, the New Zealand cricketer, who was also a board member for South Sydney, and he passed away during the week. We'll shortly have the Roosters coming out, so I'll hand things over to David Morrow, Darryl Broman, Mark Riddell on the touchline for South Sydney and the Roosters. Boys, you have a good call.
Okay, here come the Roosters, and already Greg Inglis has led the South Sydney side out onto the park. And he looks massive, Inglis. And I think he was saying, I think I read somewhere recently that Greg was saying this is the first good off-season he's had for 5 seasons. So considering what he's done in the past without a good off-season, you wonder how he'll go with a good off-season.
Well, Dave, all the Aussie players are saying the same. I think Cameron Smith's the same, Cronk, Thurston, all those guys have had a really good off-season. So that's good for them. I mean, it's been very terribly busy for them, and you can understand burnout with those State of Origin and Australian players. It is a long year for him, but he should be back refreshed and ready to go. That's why they get the big bucks, mate.
It is why they get the big bucks, but it must be good to have a little bit of a break, just absolutely. Mentally and physically. That's physically a tough game, but mentally because mentally they play that huge series in the middle of the year, and then most of the time they've got to come back because their team's struggling a fraction to make the 8, so they've then got to recharge their batteries. It's a really tough ask on our best players, but they do it. And they do it in great fashion. Jared Maxwell wearing the Canberra jumper. That's the referee's.
I like it.
I like it too, except, of course, when Canberra's playing, they won't be wearing this. I didn't see any of the Canberra game yesterday, so I must admit I didn't see the badge because I was driving to Campbelltown listening to you. There's the kick-off. Inglis gets us underway, and the Roosters defending the Moore Park Road end. The Northern Enders, Napa brings it back, and he's smashed into the turf. Good tackle, about 15 out from his own goal line. On the scrum line, played to friend. Kenny Dowell brings it up, and Kenny Dowell has taken it a solid tackle, 25 out from his own goal line, as we see the South Sydney side retreat quickly, and big Kane Evans takes it up, and Souths are up quickly. Tyrrell's one of the defenders, and he's put down about 12 short of the halfway. Big Sammy Burgess in there as well. Penalty for holding down, says the referee. Well, if it's consistently applied, we're going to see a fast game. Tyrrell the offender. I
agree. I didn't think it was that bad, but I mean, you often see early in the game the referees like to stamp some form of authority on the game, but as you said, it's all about consistency. I mean, it was a split second in that. I thought it was okay. The Roosters get an opportunity over halfway.
As Napa brings it back again. The reason I say that, Darryl, is I thought there was a relaxation of it yesterday in the heat at Campbelltown, and I thought it was great refereeing to give them a little bit more time because they realised that everyone was getting tired and hot. Anyway, here's the Roosters bringing it ahead again as big Kane Evans will play it about 28 metres out in the goal line. Friend comes the open side. It comes to Hastings, and away it goes to Lou, and Lou's going to be tackled around about 20 metres out from South's line, right in front of the goalpost at the cricket ground end of the park. It goes then to Friend. It comes to Hastings. On it goes to Ferguson. Oh, great tackle out there. He was going to make some progress, and the tackle was made, I think, by Walker as the ball comes back now to Lou in the centre of the field. And he's tackled around about 12 metres out on the goal line. He'll play the ball right in centre field. Last play coming up. Ball comes out the open. It comes now to Hastings. Hastings puts a grubber kick in. Looks as if it'll have too much weight, and does just by a centimetre or two. And great play from young Gray. I thought Aaron Gray showed a lot of patience there to make sure that he had plenty of time. He knew it, and obviously someone was talking to him, Darryl, because he waited till the very last second and realised he didn't have to play at it, and they get 7 tackles for the restart as Sutton takes it back to within 9 of the halfway.
Yeah, well, communication's what it's all about in that situation. The kick was just a tad too long. Right off the boot, it looked too long from Hastings. He'd be disappointed with that because they've had all the ball in the opening couple of minutes here, the Roosters, and they would have liked a repeat set. Here's Sammy Burgess taking his first hit up back in the NRL and did get smashed.
And he got hit with a big tackle. Isaac Liu very much involved. Here's Walker on the left, opposite up to Sutton. It was Heimel Hunt who made that great tackle earlier, I must admit, on Ferguson, as they moved the ball to within 20-odd metres of the goal line. Tyrrell goes straight and hard. Good run from the starting prop. He's tackled 19 metres out on the Roosters line. Last play coming up. McInnes at dummy half, opposite up to Reynolds. Reynolds takes a couple of steps, puts it up high. Here comes Johnson, but no, Burgess goes higher, and the Pom comes down with the ball a metre out from his own goal line.
Yeah, he took it beautifully, didn't he? I think he would have needed a bit more elevation there, Reynolds at halfback, because he really took that quite easily. There was no contest for the ball, but he took it well. I like the look of him. I've seen him play a bit, Joe Burgess. He's going to be a success in the NRL.
He is going to be a success, but he comes from Wigan. You wouldn't expect anything else, would you, Mark Riddell?
Oh, exactly right. No, he's had great success in the Super League, playing with the Wigan Warriors. Obviously, the Roosters, I think they identified him when the Roosters actually played in the World Club Challenge here against Wigan Warriors, and they thought he'd be a special talent. Let's hope we see some of it this afternoon.
Ball comes back to the left to Hastings, under a bit of pressure. He puts a wobbly old kick up. This is going to be Greg Inglis's first touch of the football, except when he kicked off. And here he comes as he brings it back. And look at the Roosters. They're down there in numbers. Lose there. So too was Friend. There was another defender in the form of Orbison. Who else? Nearly every kick chase, Orbison's not far. Well, he's not far away from the ball at any time. He's an incredibly talented and aware footballer. Yeah. God, now it's Goodwin going for a gallop up over the halfway line. Penalty against the Roosters for all being offside. So South's first penalty is in great position, and they should go on the attack from around about 20 metres out, you would think. Reynolds does at least take his time to kick for touch. I think Nicarima was the one he pinched.
Yeah, Reynolds is an interesting character, I reckon. 12 months ago, I reckon he had the best kicking game in the NRL, Adam Reynolds, but I didn't think it was that good last year. I know he was had a couple of injuries, etc., but I thought his kicking game suffered last year, and I think that contributed to South being bundled out pretty early in the competition. If he can get that back, Souths are going to go okay this year. I don't think they can win the comp, but they'll go okay.
Now the ball's played 20 metres out in the goal line. McInnes comes from dummy half. It goes to Walker. He has a run on his own, and he's tackled Cody Walker about 10 metres out on the goal line. He's 15 metres in from touch. They'll go back the open side. It comes through the hands, and away it goes to big Sammy Burgess, and Burgess is going to be playing it. He's only about 2 or 3 metres out. Tell you what, he took some defenders a long way close to that goal line. McInnes goes back to the right. It comes to Reynolds. Reynolds offloads on the outside, and they take it up strongly. And taking it up strongly over on that side of the field is Carter. He'll play the ball close to the goal line. Another penalty against the Roosters. Now, will they have a kick at goal? They'll fit, 10 metres to the right of the uprights. Now, will they have a kick at goal?
I think they'll take the tap. No, I think they're going to take the tap here. McInnes has got the ball, unless he's turned into a goal kicker.
I was just about to say, Reynolds has made no motion towards going to the ball as Turner brings it up. And Turner, isn't it great to see him starting fit and fresh after what he's had to endure? He's going to play the ball close to the goal line. McInnes, away it goes. Tyrrell throws a little dummy and then went on his own. He was almost going to trying to wrap around him was McInnes. McInnes goes for dummy half times and scores. Oh, he's caught him, Matty. He's caught the Roosters absolutely with their pants down, or should I say without feathers. Wow. The referee's going upstairs to check something here. He's got a try. Well, I think we're going to go to the Graham Annesley bunker to check whether it's a try, courtesy of Coates Hire.
Yeah. The question mark is whether he knocked it on from dummy half.
So we need to confirm that there is no knock on from the dummy half and that he grounds the ball correctly. Okay, roll through from there, mate.
Righto, here we go.
7.
I must admit, when I first saw it,
just roll it back, mate.
He did have a little fumble, but I think it might have been in the air.
So we have the dummy half picking up possession of
Let's
the ball.
have a listen.
And there's no knock on. Play forward, mate.
So there we are. There's
Now
no
go through
knock
the
on.
grounding. Go to your quad. Just roll that back.
Didn't look to be any problems with the grounding. We had a fairly good view of it from here. I know a long way away, Darryl, but we just had that sort of vision that looked all right from here.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure this is a try. He did fumble the ball, but it was in the air. He regathered it before it touched the ground, so there's no knock on. This is a try, and that was just way too simple. Waiting on the decision. Here it comes. Try.
It's a try to South Sydney, and Cameron McInnes scores the first try in the derby on low scoreboard. South Sydney 4, Roosters 0, and Piggy Riddell. Don't you love seeing a hooker catch the opposition napping like that?
And that's certainly what he did, wasn't it? He just saw the gap, he went for it, head down, got down low, straight through in between the defenders. But it's the back-to-back penalties against the Roosters that got him down there into that position. And as you said, Cameron McInnes, he just sniffed it out. He knew he could get over the line. It's a great start for the Bunnies, 4 points to 0.
And right next to the uprights, which makes it easy for Reynolds, you would think, to add the extras.
I've been banging on about this for years now, Dave. I don't understand why more dummy halves don't have a go. I just think there's great opportunity there. Throw a dummy, have a go. And that was just too simple. There was no one in front of him. And he just picked it up and dived between two fellas. It was easy.
So here's Reynolds down in that crouch that we see. Very bright orange boots, moves in. There's the kick from Reynolds. He adds the extras. Low scoreboard. It's South Sydney 6 after 7 minutes, leading the Roosters 0 as we go round the grounds, courtesy of Sydney Markets. And here he is, Billy McGee.
6 minutes into the first half of the Holden Cup, Newcastle 6, Gold Coast 0.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes, Darryl, whether some hookers don't have a go because they haven't got the confidence, and if they don't get there, they come back and their coach gives them what for.
Yeah, probably, and also they've probably got planned moves on, and they're pretty mechanical these days, aren't they, with what they do around dummy half. But I still, and I say it all the time, I just think the hit up close to the ruck is very effective.
Oh, what a good run from Burgess, and what a good hit to put him down too, I might add. But, gee, Burgess, didn't he come on? This fella's had a good start to the game. Dave Tyrrell. Yeah. He runs straight and hard, and every time he's taken it up, he's managed to find some ground. Heimel Hunt brings it back to within 12 of the halfway line. He'll play the ball. McInnes comes back to the right, and they've found some ground pretty comfortably here, the South Sydney Rabbitohs. They're already up to the halfway through Carter. They'll come back to the left as they come out now to Sutton. Sutton tries to make a little break. He's got to within 41 metres of the Roosters line. He's on the scrum line, western side of the field. On the last play, Cody Walker gets it. He puts a kick in. It rebounds off a Roosters player. Was it played at as Inglis picks up the bouncing ball? The Roosters fans in front of us are saying boo. But I tell you what, the kick was kicked a long way from the Roosters player. It wasn't kicked half a metre away, but it was kicked a long way away. So the referee said, I think the Rooster player had time to play at that ball. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so too. Look, after a really good start here, the Roosters, they haven't seen much of the ball in the last 5 minutes. In this heat, it's going to take a toll on them, I think, because the Bunnies now are just marching upfield here.
Here comes Cody Walker. He gets away to Sutton. It goes to Inglis. Inglis on to Gray. Gray tries to get back on the inside. Good defence initially from Kenny Dowell, and the cover got there to help him. He'll play the ball about 8 metres out on the goal line. It's played now to Goodwin. Goodwin to Sutton. Sutton gets it away to Walker. Walker to Reynolds. Reynolds puts another grubber kick in. It rebounds off a Roosters player. This time, no, it's no 6 to go. South fans are screaming this time. That time, though, it was a lot closer. Walker runs to the line. Puts a grubber kick in. And in there, it's missed. Oh, and Burgess almost got there and scored. And would you believe he's knocked it on? Sam Burgess had every opportunity, won the race for the ball, would you believe? Yeah, but he's knocked it on, or are they ruling the Roosters have knocked it dead?
I think he's ruled the Roosters have, but I think they're going to check this, and this is what they did the other night. I don't know if they're going to go to it.
Camera 5 shows off Roosters.
Off the Roosters, so it's going to be a goal line dropout.
Wow, gee, I thought Burgess got a hand to it. Or maybe the Rooster just knocked it away from Burgess, and that's what caused it.
Nicarima it was who got back there, and if I tell you what, if he didn't get there, Burgess scores. Yeah, Nicarima just tapped it out of his hands just as he's about to pounce.
Well, gee, Burgess, I'll tell you one thing, he played inside centre for England in rugby union. Well, he showed some speed to get to that.
Because going from inside centre to front row, that's outrageous.
Well, it is outrageous, but it's probably what's wrong with rugby at the moment. They like to have rugby league style props playing inside centre.
I would have been a sensation at rugby union and centres.
You probably would have been too, especially the modern game. Ball played by Burgess though, close to the line after the line drop out. Here comes Tyrrell. Tyrrell charges the line. He's going to play the ball about 2 or 3 metres out in the goal line. Roosters again, they're having to do a lot of defending early on. Cody Walker goes one way, goes the other. He slipped out of one tackle. He can't get away from the next, and he's tackled 10 metres out. He plays it to McInnes. They keep going on the blind blindside. Sutton puts in a grubber kick, rebounds off legs, fallen on by Kenny Dowell, and the referee says that's the end of the set, and the Roosters have endured a long period of time in far as being on a football field is concerned without the ball.
Yeah, well, you know what I mentioned before about Adam Reynolds probably having the best kicking game in the NRL 12 months ago. I've got to say their last 3 kicks have been pretty average. They've had a bit of luck. Cody Walker's kicked 2 of them. One, they got the ball back for another set of 6 and then dropped it. And then that last kick there was pretty average, I thought, from John Sutton. They need to improve it.
Well, they've had 3 kicks that have kicked legs on my count, Piggy, in the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, exactly right. They need to certainly fix that kicking game on their last plays, try and build a bit more pressure. Boys, a little one for me. I know it's not big, but I think Sean Kenny Dowell's in number 4 and Dale Copley's in number 3.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. The program had him the other way around, but Kenny Dowell always plays in 4 when he plays in the centres, and might be a superstition thing, but I'm not sure whether the official sheet had that, but I know that the program has him the other way round. Low scoreboard, South Sydney 6, Roosters 0, and we've had just over 10 minutes of play. South Sydney again through Goodwin. Make the ball. In fact, is it Hunt? No, it's Goodwin. No, it's hard to tell these centres as they make the progress down towards the 40-metre line. They're 20 metres in from touch. Ball played. Back the open side it comes. It comes to Walker. He looks for Tyrrell. Tyrrell in the centre of the park lines. Turner is almost through. He's tackled 30 metres out in the goal line. They go back the short side to Reynolds. Reynolds puts a kick in back towards the goal post. It goes between the post and back there is Ferguson, and Ferguson is grabbed, and Ferguson is pushed, and Ferguson is caught, and they concede the line drop out. Great chase in the end. I'm not sure who it was who got there.
Walker.
Was it Walker who got there initially, and then the mates arrived. Walker did well to hold him up because Ferguson was trying to get the ground in the field of play, and he was held up, and then in the end when the troops arrived, it was enough for the line drop out.
He did brilliantly, Cody Walker, because one-on-one with Ferguson, he'll beat you most times. He put the big left arm out to try and fend him off. Walker grabbed it, held him in the in-goal area until as you said, until the troops arrived, and they just finished him off. That's a big play from Walker.
And it put more pressure on the Roosters because they've had to do a lot of defending in the hottest part of this game, in other words, the early part. And so far, it's been all South Sydney. They lead on the low scoreboard 6-0, but gee, they've made the Roosters have to work, and they're going to be playing the ball again here, 20 metres out on the goal line. McInnes comes back to the left. It goes away to Burgess. Burgess claps on the accelerator when he gets to the defensive line. He's tackled 10 metres out on the line. He plays it to McInnes. McInnes back it goes to Reynolds. Reynolds floats across field. He looks for a runner. Looks like Carter. Carter throws a pass. It's dribbled along the ground. It's picked up by Sutton. Sutton gets it back to Walker. Walker, lovely pass to Gray. And Gray races in and scores South Sydney second. Oh, what a lovely face ball to finish that off. They may go back and have a look at the pass to dribble on the ground. They're not going to. It looked perfect from here. Wasn't a great pass. It just went backwards. And as often happens when a ball hits the deck, the defensive line has stood still. And Cody Walker, great vision, puts Gray in for the second South Sydney try. Low scoreboard, South Sydney 10, Roosters zip.
Yeah, tremendous work both from Paul Carter there. He did throw the ball, as you said, Dave. It wasn't a pinpoint accurate pass, but he did know on the outside they had some numbers there. Was picked up by Sutton. He just passed it to Walker. Walker with tremendous vision. He knew the winger was going to come in, Latrell Mitchell. He came in to take the centre. He cut out his centre, and it hit that winger Aaron Gray right on the chest. It was a beautiful ball from Cody Walker, who has had a really good start to this game. Take away some of the little kicks he's put in. Other than that, he's certainly up to this standard, playing brilliantly at the moment. That's a great start for the Bunnies. They're in again. And with it's a very difficult kick here for Adam Reynolds, but we know what a sort of a goal kicker he is. They could be leading by 12 here after only 15 minutes.
And, of course, the Roosters have had doing all the tackling too, and the petrol that takes out of you in the heat, Darryl. I mean, the drinks break can't come quick enough for the Roosters, you'd think.
Well, they've got 5 minutes to go until the drinks break, so I'm sure from their perspective they'd like to get some points on the board before the next drinks break. I'd like to think they're not thinking, geez, we've got to keep South. They've got to start attacking, but they've got to get the ball. They haven't had the ball for 10 minutes.
Here's Reynolds, a metre in from touch, 23 metres out, so not the easiest kick. And we've got a great view of it from our vantage point. There's the kick from Reynolds. It starts to the left. It swings back, but there's not enough in-swing on it, and so it's no goal. Low scoreboard, 25 minutes to go in the first half. South Sydney 10, leading the Roosters 0. Down on the sideline is Mark Riddell.
Yeah, we can almost say it's been the perfect start for the South Sydney side. You mentioned the heat. Well, they've just put the Roosters under too much pressure at the moment. They've had all the football. In the last 10 minutes, I can only remember the Roosters having the ball for one set of 6, where Inglis ended up catching that ball on the full just with the try. I thought Johnny Sutton did really well when he picked up that football. He knew Nikorima was the defender. He just flicked it out the back to Walker, and Walker did the rest.
So here's South Sydney bringing it back after the restart on the low scoreboard. They lead 10 points to 0 over the Roosters. Around the grounds for Sydney Markets, Billy McGee.
16 minutes gone in the first half in the Holden Cup. 6-all between the Gold Coast and Newcastle.
And they take the ball back to within 10 of the halfway line as the ball is fed to Burgess. And he's had a good start, hasn't he, as he works the ball back towards the halfway. He'll play the ball there. It's hard to say about the Roosters. We haven't seen them play yet, Darryl.
No.
I mean, it's an old saying, but, you know, you can't play without the ball. Oh, here's another penalty against the Roosters for being offside. Gee, that's Guerra or Kenny Dowell. He might have got pinched them both.
Yeah, well, they're going to continue. I think they'll put more pressure here on the Roosters. I'll tell you what the drinks break does do, though. I think it helps the coaches here with the interchange. It does give them a chance, and the players probably, I don't know, what's to give them a minute to suck in the big ones, get a bit of, fluid into them,
yeah.
And I think it does help them with the interchange. So the players will be desperate, as you said, particularly the Roosters, for this 20 minutes to come up. They've still got about 4 minutes to go.
And the Rabbitohs with the ball and taking the ball to the line is Turner, and Turner's going to play it 15 metres out now from the Roosters goalpost, northern end of the field, low scoreboard. South Sydney lead by 10 points to 0 as Reynolds goes to the line. He's picked up and unceremoniously dumped 9 metres out. He threw the dummy and ran into the tackle of Orbison. The ball comes back to the left. Now McGuinness looking for his second. He threw a dummy, went on his own, and he almost got there. They hung off him to the Roosters, and he almost made them pay as the ball comes out to the left of Walker again. Away it goes to Sutton. Sutton keeps it alive. It comes away out here on this side of the field and take it up as Goodwin. And Goodwin's tackled about 5 metres out on the goal line. Last play coming up. Ball goes back to the centre to Sutton. Away it goes to Reynolds. Reynolds the crossfield bomb. They're coming in numbers. Oh, it's been plucked out of the air by Carter. And Carter scores the South Sydney Rabbitohs' third try.
He's taking it one-handed.
They're going to go upstairs and double check. Referee Jared Maxwell has got a try. In fact, they won't go upstairs. Yes, they will, because it's level 3, isn't it? It's not a bunker. It's the Graham Annesley bunker, courtesy of Coach Hire, as we check to see whether Carter, and that's Paul Carter, has scored the third South Sydney try.
Well, there's the kick across field. They're checking.
Go to a tight shot. Now go to a tight shot. Okay. Now they declare that there's no knock-on from South. Okay, yep, doesn't touch the Roosters post. That's okay, yep. Let's go through. Go to a quad split now, please, mate. We're okay with the contest. South take possession. Now need to clear the grounding. Go
It's a
through,
try.
mate.
Well, I didn't see anything wrong with the grounding.
Camera 5 in the bottom left shows you grounds the ball.
Brilliant work from Carter. Brilliant work from Carter. The kick across field. He jumped and he put one arm up and raked the ball in with one arm. Controlled it with his second. They're going to try now. Here it is. That's a try. South's 14. The Roosters 0 after, 17 minutes? Incredible start for the Bunnies.
And they're about to kick a goal again. And the big thing about it is that, again, the Roosters will have to kick off, and South Sydney will probably have the ball for much of the remaining period before the drinks break.
Yeah, I think they'll take the drinks break straight after this kick.
They may do too, Darryl. That's good.
To save time. Like, I think 22 minutes gone. I'm pretty sure they will.
South Sydney might like that, because then Roosters have got to go back and kick it off, and South Sydney got the ball again straight after the drinks break.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get near. I'd love to have a look at the stats at the moment based on how much time the Roosters have had the ball, because it would be virtually zilch. They haven't had the ball.
No, they haven't. They haven't had it for 15 minutes.
They haven't had it, I'm certain, since the first try was scored by McInnes. I'm trying to remember whether they've had a possession. Here's Reynolds. If it is, it's only one. 20 metres in from touch, 17 metres out. So not a difficult kick for as far as this young fellow's concerned. Adam Reynolds, as he moves in. There's the kick from Reynolds. He's put it straight over the black dot. And here at the Footy Stadium, 19 minutes gone in the first half. Darryl was right. They're going to the drinks break. And South Sydney on the low scoreboard lead by 16 points to 0 as we go round the grounds courtesy of Sydney Markets. Billy McGee.
18 minutes into the first half of the Holden Cup. Newcastle 10, Gold Coast 6.
Do you agree with me, Mark, that South Sydney probably be happy to take the drinks break now because they get possession straight back?
Oh, yeah, look, I think so. It's just, I suppose, with the run of play and the try being scored, it's the right time to take it. I'll tell you what, a stat just came up on the big screen, Thirsty. You're talking about possession and whatnot. The Roosters already, in 20 minutes, have had to make 101 tackles to the South Sydney side's 42 tackles. So in 20 minutes of football, the Roosters have made 101 tackles. Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, they've had no ball, but we know that. But the thing is that they've scored tries on the back of tries, South Sydney, and interspersed with that have been mistakes by the Roosters. I mean that by conceding penalties and then the line dropout, which was forced by Cody Walker. So they've just had no ball. And in these sort of conditions, and in the modern game, if you don't have the ball, the opposition will score try after try after try.
But the tries have been pretty simple too, David. The first one, really, Cameron McGuinness, that was just unacceptable defence. From dummy half, he just burst through and scored a try.
Boys, got the stats here just quickly. Sorry to interrupt, Darryl. They only had 4 sets in that first 20 minutes, the Roosters, whereas South Sydney had 10.
Well, that's interesting, you know. Normally, and that wears out what we normally see 20 sets, which is normally 40 sets and a half, which normally equates to 20 sets each. When there's tries like that, that's why those 6 sets have gone out of the first 20 minutes. And, yeah, there we are. The Roosters are 6 sets down on the norm.
Well, it's about 30% of possession, roughly 30%. But the tries they've conceded have been from a kick, and Carter did brilliantly. They tried to defend it, but they didn't do it well enough. And as I said, the McGuinness one was soft. The other one was a beautiful ball. Here we go, kick off.
Here's Latrell Mitchell kicking us off again and coming hard for the ball and picking it up as Reynolds. He offloads to Burgess and Big Sammy. He easily gets out to the 20-metre line. He'll play the ball and they quickly get it back to Tyrrell. And Tyrrell, another good run too from the South Sydney prop. He's tackled on his 30-metre line. McInnes gets it away to Turner. Turner throws a dummy. He's going to be taken to ground 10 shy of the halfway line. And it was Napa involved in the tackle. McInnes spots another opening. He goes one way. He runs into Big Lou, but not before he got back to the halfway. So they've used up, 4 tackles, and they're already in the opposition's half. Inglis decides to come up and have a gallop. He says, I want to get involved in this game. He's hardly had a touch so far, Greg Inglis. Ball goes away to the right now, and under some pressure, Reynolds puts it high in the air. He got one for his trouble after he put it up in the air. Going high and taking it is Ferguson. He comes down, hits the deck, and he's immediately claimed by Carter. Crowd thinking that Carter did something illegal in the tackle. Not sure.
Nothing. What price you reckon the next? What price the next penalty to the Roosters?
Oh, God, of course it will be.
20's on.
Yeah, I'd say so. It'll be for offside or holding down. It'll be one of the two.
Well, they need one because they're going nowhere at the moment. Kane Evans takes it up. He's only 35 metres out. That's got to be tackle 3.
Well, their energy levels are down, Darryl, because they've exhausted themselves tackling. Now the ball comes away to Lou, and Lou runs into enthusiastic South Sydney defence up towards the halfway. They've already used up their set of 5. Last play coming up. Ball comes away to Hastings. Hastings puts up a high kick, and it's going to come down in no man's land. But Johnston got on his bike and got there very quickly. He realised the danger that the kick was basically coming down in the middle of the park where there was nobody. He really sprinted hard to get to that ball and saved his team not only some embarrassment, but got them to such an extent where Gray, taking the second run, has got the ball over the halfway, and now Goodwin's got to the 40-metre line in the opposition's half. They're on the attack again here, South Sydney.
They're taking great advantage of what's happened so far, and they need to, the Bunnies, as they try and spread the ball wide here. This is the time where they really can put this game to bed because they are exhausted, the Roosters.
Now here's Burgess running the ball up. That's a sloppy pass, but Inglis has done well. He got away from one. He gets it away to Goodwin. Goodwin gets it away to Gray. Coming for the interceptors. Mitchell, he knocks it down, and probably just as well, because if he doesn't knock it down or catch it, Gray catches and perhaps scores in the corner. The cover was coming across, but now South Sydney will get a scrum feed 20 metres out from the Roosters line, 20 in from touch, and they'll go on the attack again.
Well, the stage is set here for Inglis to do something here. As I said before, they're very tired here, the Roosters, and this is where the shot clock is not going to help them here. There's 17 seconds to go. They're just standing back, hands on hips. The Bunnies are there. They're ready to go. Roosters really going to try and wind this clock down as best they can. It's down to 7 seconds. Now, they need to pack this. It's 3 to go. They've got in there and they're going to pack it here, but here comes Inglis, I reckon.
Righto, and at the moment on the scoreboard, the low scoreboard, South Sydney 16 leading the Roosters 0. They've got another set of 6 on the Roosters line here, the Bunnies. The ball goes back to the right and Turner tries to run over the top of them. He's tackled a few metres out on the goal line. He'll play it to McInnes. He comes back to the right. It goes to Burgess. Burgess has a go on his own. He got a one-armer away to Cody Walker. Walker tries to go through himself. He's put down a few metres out on the from the goal line. Good tackle, Nicarima. Ball comes back now to Burgess. Burgess decides to have another crack on his own as he takes it in underneath the goalpost. Into dummy calf comes McInnes. He scored the first try. Ball goes out to the right. Wrap around with Tyrrell. He keeps it alive then to Reynolds. Reynolds puts the kick in for Johnson, and Johnson reads it perfectly. Races through, catches it on the fall, and scores the Bunnies 4.
Well, what a beautifully worked try that was. The old run around. I love a run around, and it did drag the defence in, but it was a brilliant bit of work. I think it was McGuinness to Tyrrell. Around there, McGuinness got the ball back, threw it to Reynolds. Now Inglis was lurking on the outside of Reynolds, and that dragged a bit of the defence in, but the kick from Reynolds was pinpoint accurate. Absolutely beautiful. It just went over the top of the winger over there, Joe Burgess. He couldn't get a fingertip on it and went straight into the hands of Alex Johnston. That is a brilliantly worked try from the Bunnies, and too easy for them. They have raced away here. 20-0 after 22 minutes. It's incredible.
It is. The low scoreboard, 20 points to nil, kick to come. And the first season he had in first grade, Reynolds and Everingham put that move on many times. Piggy Riddell, he's kicking games back tonight.
Oh, it certainly is. That was pinpoint accurate, and he'll be pleased. That's one of them training plays. You know, they would have planned for that. They would have saw the Roosters and how they were compressed in defence. Alex Johnston, well, he knew it was coming. The beautiful kick in behind Joe Burgess from the Roosters. A beautiful play. Everything, we keep saying it, boys, everything is just rolling the Bunnies' wave. It's not the Roosters giving away penalties. They're knocking the ball down, or they're charging down a kick and giving the Bunny side another set of 6. So it's going to be very, very hard to see this Roosters side come back from here.
So here's Reynolds. He's about 8 metres in from touch. He's 25 metres out from the goal. He puts his hand up because he's looking almost directly into the sun over on that eastern side. And here he comes, endeavouring to increase this margin for South Sydney. It's very high, but it's not very straight. And so Reynolds misses, and that's probably a bit of relief for South Sydney fans. But now they've got to score 4 times. 4 times. South Sydney on the low scoreboard lead 20 points to nil. 16 to go in the first half as we go round the grounds for Sydney Markets. Billy McGee.
15 minutes until half-time in the Holden Cup. Newcastle 16, Gold Coast 6.
New South Wales Cup full-time. North Sydney 28 have defeated Newcastle 12. Bears 28, the Knights 12 in New South Wales Cup. As again, the South Sydney side bring it back. And I'm one who see these situations. I still wonder whether with the Super League idea where the team that scores, the same as the NFL, should restart the action. Because when you see momentum like this, I know it's not the way the game's played, Darryl. I know there's a lot of people and there's good arguments to say no, but I tell you what, it's hard for the momentum changes to swing when the opposition doesn't get a chance to use the ball. Here comes Turner running the ball back 35 metres out, make it 32 metres out, make it 31 metres out as he waltzed the defence a long way before they finally collared him. Away to Reynolds. Reynolds puts it high in the air, getting underneath it. There's Ferguson, and Ferguson falls over as he takes the catch, and he's tackled 5 out from his own goal line.
Well, I was just going to say, this will be interesting to see where they get the penalty. There it comes. Now, they've got them for not marking up straight here. It was Burgess who had the run. Geez, didn't they need that? That's a second take that Ferguson has taken and gone to deck with it, basically, without being tackled. The first one, he jumped and landed on his back, and on that occasion, he caught it almost lying on the ground.
Yeah, have they got the energy to do anything with the ball? Orbison brings it up, and Orbison's tackle 12 short of the halfway line. Quarter an hour to go in the first half, and the low scoreboard reads South's 20, the Roosters 0 as they work the ball back towards the halfway line. The Roosters with the ball. They're just inside the scrum line on the eastern side of the field as Lou plays it to Friend. Friend offloads to Evans. Evans gets a pass on to Napa, and Napa's easily tackled just over the halfway line, 42 metres out from South's line. He'll play it to Friend. Friend to Jackson, to Hastings, or Jackson Hastings, and he offloaded the ball, and the Roosters are going to play it again. 35 metres out now from the goalpost, the Sydney Cricket Ground or southern end of the field. They go the open side to Nicarima. He had to juggle that ball. He got a pass away to Guerra, and Guerra knocks the ball on. Sutton goes back and picks it up, and Souths have got the ball again. And that looked like the play of some tired fellas out there.
Yeah, absolutely it did. Guerra, who is a quality player, he just put it down. He's exhausted. Look, he's struggling to get out of the line here. They're struggling to get back to 10 here, the Roosters. You can't harp on it, but it's true. They've had no ball. No wonder Souths are just running amok here.
Goodwin with the ball back towards the halfway line. He'll play the ball to McInnes. McInnes offloads the ball, and Gray comes in from the left wing to add a little bit of punch. I notice Clark's out there so far for South Sydney, and he's got the ball now as he runs back in behind the ruck, and he tries to force a couple of defenders to come out of the line. Sam Mower's out there, I noticed, for the Roosters. The ball is played to McInnes. Back it goes then to Reynolds. Reynolds decides to clap on the speed. He goes on his own. Oh, he almost almost got through. He was ankle tapped by the blind man from behind. I don't know who got him. I don't think anyone got him. I think he tripped over his own feet. The ball's kept alive to Inglis. Inglis has gone straight through. They won't stop Inglis from there. Inglis scores. Oh, that was just a tired Roosters defence in the end. And Greg Inglis has made them pay.
Well, you knew exactly he was going to make an impact sooner or later, Greg Inglis, particularly against tired defence. When they're, as I said before, they're just running with basic absolute freedom here, the Bunnies, and you got the best in the business in Greg Inglis. He got the ball, standing start, used the fend. He just fended away from a couple of good players. Came from Reynolds, who I think feigned a kick there. He got tackled, got up, passed the ball to Inglis, or no, to McGuinness, I should say. He got it. He didn't know what to do. Thought, I'll give it to the best in the business. Gave it to Inglis. He just sort of waltzed up there, pushed off Orbison, got away from Sam Moa, ran around the fullback, and then Burgess came across trying to make a tackle on him. Couldn't stop him from there. Scored, 5 metres to the right of the post? It's a procession.
Low scoreboard. South Sydney 24, Roosters 0. 12.5 to go in the first half. And the thing about Reynolds, I think it was Sam Moa just managed to flick his bootlace, and that's what caused him to fall over. But in falling over, he managed to keep the ball alive to McInnes. And Inglis from a standing start, he's not entitled to score there. Sam Moa missed him one side and Orbison the other. And then the rest of it's just sheer Inglis at his best.
Well, we've been seeing it for a decade. He is just a brute. He's strong, he's fast.
And as I said, he I think himself, he feels more confident this year than he ever has in his ability. Here comes Reynolds, moves in, there's the kick, and this one's pinpoint. It's straight over the black dot, and now South Sydney lead by 26. It's South Sydney 26, Roosters 0, 11.5 to go in the first half, and that's courtesy of Lowe's. I'm almost loath to go to Billy McGee for Sydney Markets. Poor Billy. You're probably happy you're not out here, Billy.
Yeah, you're right there, Thirsty. 10 minutes until half-time in the Holden Cup. Newcastle 16, Gold Coast 6.
Well, if anyone's interested, I hate to go off a bit early here. South Sydney's biggest win against East, it says here, was 50-0 at Sydney Sports Ground in 52. And David, I suggest you were there.
No, I wasn't there. I wasn't even born. Mark,
you must have been close. You must have been thought of at least.
Yeah. Mark, it is basically due to the fact one team's got all the ball and one hasn't.
Oh, they certainly have. And the Roosters had their opportunity down this end, and they turned over possession again. And this South Sydney side, they're on fire, and they're just making them pay at the moment. But I tell you what, that was brilliant from Greg Inglis. Standing start, straight through, and a beautiful try.
And now, it's not an attempt at 40-20. Out of dummy half, McGuinness has put a kick in. It'll finish up near the dead ball line. Burgess ran back for it. He's picked it up. He gives it to Ferguson. And look at them come here. The numbers are down there. And, of course they'd be down there. They're as fresh as Daisy, South Sydney. And the Roosters have got the ball, and they've got to run it up their own goal line and try to go the length.
I'm wondering what Damien Cook's thinking on the bench here. Cam McGuinness has had a cracking first half. Damien Cook was thinking, get me out there, champion. I want to do something.
A great run from Kenny Dowell. Gets his side back to within 12 of the halfway as Friend offloads the ball, and taking the ball up now is Togarauer, and he's got the ball just over the halfway. He's finally out there. Ball comes back to Moa. Moa goes for his first run. Good solid tackle, and it was made by Jason Clark, but they're 38 metres out. Last play comes to Hastings. Hastings puts up a kick. It's high in the air. Coming for the ball is Johnson, and Alex Johnson takes it superbly. He was under a bit of pressure, but he managed to withstand the pressure, and he'll play it 12 metres out from his own goal line.
He's a fine player, Alex Johnson. He's played for Australia, hasn't he? I think he's a fabulous player. They've got some very, very good players here. It's just whether they can, get away. If they stay away from injuries, they're going to be okay, because they found some decent players. Hymel Hunt looks a good player.
He does look a good player, and here's the other centre at the moment. They've obviously been to the same barber, these two, the centres.
They're doing it just to annoy you.
Hymel Hunt and Goodwin have dead set been to the same fella to do their hair. Or female, they might go to a hairdresser. Kick from Cody Walker, I think, will be too deep. It is. Fraction too deep. And finally, a bit of luck. Bounce of the ball luck, that is, goes the Roosters' way. They get a 7-tackle set from the centre of their 20-metre line.
There's a young bloke out there who I haven't seen. I may have seen him in the 20s, Zane Musgrave. He is a giant.
A big fella, and he went to the similar barber too, hasn't he?
Good luck.
Have a look at his hair. Or at least he's taller than the other two. And he's going to play the ball 12 short of the halfway line. The ball comes across now. Here's Tokerau. Tokerau has got wrapped up just short of the halfway line. Low scoreboard. South 26. Roosters 0. 8.5 to go in the first stanza as Sam Moa brings it up. And he's going to be tackled around about 41 metres out now from the South line. He's on the western scrum line. Friend sends it back now. Through the hands it goes to Hastings. On it goes to Orbison. Orbison's going to be put down and he'll play the ball around about 32 or 33 metres out on the goal line. Friend with the ball. Goes to Nicarima. Nicarima feigned a kick and then he's dragged to the ground. He threw a pass away. It goes to ground. Picked up by Friend. He throws a pass. It went to ground. Then the ball goes to Henderson and Henderson is out there as tackle 22 metres out on the goal line. Hastings has the ball. He puts a kick over the top that should be easily picked off and it is by Alex Johnson and he'll play the ball 10 metres out from his own line and 10 in from touch on the eastern side of the field, and that is about as deep as South Sydney have had to start a set of 6 in this entire game.
Yeah, it is. Look, given the fact they've had no ball in the first half, you would have thought Jackson Hastings might have put a better kick in than that. That was a pretty average kick. It did go straight down the throat of the winger Alex Johnson as he goes from dummy half, makes an easy 20 metres.
Wouldn't you think they'd have a crack at trying to get a repeat set?
Yeah, I don't know what he was trying to do then. He wasn't trying to dab it into the in-goal area or put a bomb up. It was just like a little chip over the top, and it went straight down the throat of Johnson.
Here they go, back out to the right side of the field. It comes to Reynolds, and Reynolds kicks in behind them again, and he forces Ferguson back to the goalpost. He throws a dummy at Mitchell, and Ferguson is put on the deck, 20 metres out from his own goal line, 20 in from touch, plays it to Nicarima. Nicarima opposite up to Mitchell, and Mitchell's going to be playing at about 28 metres out from his own goal line, and 15 metres in from touch. Low scoreboard, 7 to go in the first half, and South lead by 26 points to 0, and a penalty for hand on the ball, says the referee.
Yeah, it might have been John Sutton. Cody Walker was in there. Geez, Cody Walker must be thinking, how good's this? This is a dream for him making his NRL debut. They're in front 26-0 against the Roosters, and there's still 6.5 minutes to go in the first half.
Well, here's a smart move too. Damien Cook's gone out there. So we just wonder whether his speed might be utilised against a tired Roosters defence in the last 5 minutes of this first half. There he is making a tackle on Tokerau. But he could be lethal from dummy half if there's just a little bit of a chink in this tired Roosters defensive line. Moa takes it ahead and he's tackled about 22 or 23 metres out from South's line. Friend in at dummy half. Ball comes to Hastings on the right. In the centre of the park, Nicarima has it. Nicarima goes one way, evades one. He's still going Nicarima, then he runs into Inglis. That's as far as you're going, pal. And he's tackled about 8 metres out in the goal line. Friend from dummy half. He throws a dummy. Charging onto the ball is big Sam Moa. He's not far away. He's held up a few centimetres short of the goal line. I'll tell you what, I reckon he lost the ball. The referee was right there, to his credit. I'm not sure he had hold of that ball. Little grubber kick into the inside goal area it goes. Alex Johnson's back there to knock it over the dead ball line, and the Roosters finally get back-to-back sets, courtesy of a good kick, but well defended by Alex Johnson. But, gee, I have to be certain that Sam Moa, when he went to get up and play this ball, I thought for a moment that he lost it. No, he didn't.
Few hands on it. That was a better kick there from Jackson Hastings. Look, we haven't had an opportunity to really, have a look at what the Roosters have got here, but I've got to say, Jaden Nicarima looks to have the goods to me. When he's got the ball, he looks a bit of class. He looks like he's got a bit of skill. He's got good footwork, passes well. He looks a pretty good player. I'd like to see him with a bit of football in his hands.
Well, he's nuggety. He seems to be a lot stronger than he looks, Darryl, if you know what I mean.
He's short, but he's solid.
It's stupid. I mean, he's just one of these fellas. He looks as if he's easy to tackle, and he gets through good defenders' tackles, bringing the ball up Tokerau. It's 26 points to 0 on the low scoreboard in favour of South over the Roosters as they move the ball back to the right. Here's Nicarima, the man we're talking about. He offloads the ball to Guerra, and Guerra's tackled 11 metres out from South's line, 15 in from touch. It's played to Friend, back to Nicarima, away to Henderson. Henderson throws a dummy, wished he'd passed it. He's hammered into the deck, 10 metres out on the goal line. Struggles to his feet, plays it to Friend. Away it goes to Hastings. Hastings throws a dummy, goes on his own. He's held up close to the goal line. Last play coming up. Which way will Friend go? I reckon he'll go back to the right. He does, because Nicarima's over there. Nicarima puts a little kick over the top. Who's coming for the ball? I think you'll find coming for the ball and plucking it out of the air. It might have even been Kenny Dowell that might have got there.
It's Kenny Dowell, but he's got up. He bashed the ground. Like he knows he hasn't scored. He's given himself up here. The referee said no try. Kenny Dowell's walking back saying a few expletives here.
Well, the words that he's saying would suggest that he hasn't scored the try.
He must have dropped this. I think your first crack at it.
He looked as if he caught it in the air, but he must have lost it somewhere on the way down, and we're going to have a double check. One, to see whether it's a try or not, which Kenny Dowell's reaction says it isn't. And two...
Sean Kenny Dowell appears to take possession of the ball cleanly.
And then did he lose it on the way down, which would be a knock-on in the in-goal area, and South will get 7 tackles back from the Roosters.
Camera 6 in the top right shows that the ball is up.
No, he didn't get it down. It was a great tackle.
Remains up. Have a decision. We're going to the board.
He's held up in the in-goal area on the last play.
Well, he's made it pretty easy for the boys in the bunker because of his... At the end of it, you knew he hadn't scored, but he's been held up. So that'll be a turnover, I'd imagine.
It's no try. And Kenny Dowell knew it. It was just whether he'd knocked the ball into the hands of the South Sydney players. They double-checked, though, I think, courtesy of Coates Hire, just to see whether there was a knock-on in the in-goal area, which, of course, would have been a 7-tackle set from the 20-metre line. As it is, he's held up in the in-goal area, which means the South Sydney get the turnover 10 metres out, but only 6 tackles. Well, this helps penalty. So now they get 6 tackles, but about 20 metres further downfield, Henderson involved with a bit of pushing and shoving. Now he wants to mouth off at someone. Oh, no, he wants his mouth guard back.
Must have spat it out when he was mouthing off at Sutton, but he's been an interesting guy, Henderson. He played for the Roosters a few years ago, didn't he? Yeah. He's been over in England, I think, for a number of years. He's come back looking for an opportunity, and the Roosters have given him an opportunity.
I don't know what he said there, Pig, but you were right there.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. The boys are getting a little bit animated. Yeah, were you speaking about Ian Henderson then, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's spent some time over in the English Super League, I think, with Les Catalans, where Trent Robinson was coach. So obviously, Trent Robinson's brought him back. He's playing in the middle of the ruck, which I found was a little bit interesting, playing as the lock forward at the moment. He's usually a specialist hooker. So they're playing both of them.
Yeah, the friend's still out there. So, I mean, they're both pretty adaptable. He's a skillful player, isn't he?
Well, South Sydney made a mistake here. Jason Clark, one of the fresher players on the field, has knocked it on as he went to play the ball. And as a result, it's the Roosters who are going to get a scrum feed. 40 metres out from South's line as we close in on half-time. 3 to go in the first half. And on the low scoreboard, South Sydney lead by 26 points to 0. New South Wales Cup full-time. Wentworthville 28. Defeated Wyong 18. Earlier, of course, North Sydney beat Newcastle 28-12 in New South Wales Cup. We'll go to Billy McGee shortly for an update for Sydney markets. But let's check with what's happening out here as the Roosters, who had very few opportunities to put points on the ball, take it ahead through Moa. And Moa's going to be tackled about 21 metres out from South's line as we close in on half-time. 26-0 in favour of South on the low scoreboard. It goes to Hastings. Second man play to Nicarima. A long pass comes to Kenny Dowell. Kenny Dowell goes straight through. He beats one, beats two, and then goes to the line, and he's hammered back on the inside. I think it was the young replacement who hit him initially as the ball comes away to Henderson. Henderson has a crack on his own, and Sutton was one of the defenders, but there was another defender there as well. And I tell you what, Kenny Dowell was through, but then this great little tackle. Now a kick from Hastings. Hastings has a kick that's a reflex action as he regathered it after a South Sydney foot was in the road. It went straight back to Hastings. 6 to go. Referee now penalises the South Sydney side for not allowing the Roosters to get up and have a quick play the ball, but they do get the penalty. And what are they going to do in the last minute and a half of the first stanza?
I'm tipping they'll take a tap.
Yeah, I was probably more thinking, Darryl, what they'll do after the tap is Taker Hour takes it ahead. Ball played to Friend. Friend offloads the ball, and Moa decides to have a crack on his own, and he's wrestled to the ground. Good tackle over the top. It was Carter who was heavily involved in that. Ball played to Friend. Friend comes out the back to Nicarima. Nicarima to Guerra. Guerra again to Kenny Dowell. He's had a strong first half. He's played a pretty good first half, Kenny Dowell, except when he got the ball up. You can't blame him, though, when he's held up over the line with his 3 defenders there, but ball comes away to Henderson. Away it goes then to the left side. It goes to Hastings. Hastings throws a dummy, and as he went through the gap, he was put down. And a good tackle too, and it's a tackle going on with a tackle too much again as Carter. And now Hastings and Carter exchange a little bit more than glances. But, this could be just South Sydney saying, right, we'll concede the penalty here because there's less than 60 seconds to go. So there's just enough time for a set, and that's it. So if they tackle the first half out, Darryl, they'll go in with a 26 points to 0 lead on the low scoreboard.
Yeah, they need some points here. They've got 40 seconds to score here, the Roosters.
Now it goes to Hastings, and he gets it away, and taking the ball up is Henderson. And Henderson's going to be wrestled to the ground around about 5 or 6 metres out. He plays it to Friend. Friend decided to go on his own. He offloads there to Moa. Moa tripped over. I think he tripped over his own teammate's legs there. I'm not sure, but he certainly seemed to fall over something. Hastings goes to the line. He puts a grubber kick in. Coming through very quickly as Orbison. Did he get there? I don't think he did.
No.
I think it was knocked dead by South Sydney. It'll be a line dropout. No, I don't think they'll have time to take the line dropout because the dropout clock says 25 seconds to go and the time clock says 6 seconds to go, and Inglis it was. In fact, nobody got there in the end.
I don't think anyone touched it. They're just going to come off here anyway. He was a bit unlucky there, Orbison, because the kick from Hastings, for all intents and purposes, was going to sit up at some stage, but it never did. It just kept rolling end over end over end. Hastings couldn't get to it. In the end, it was Inglis who got there, not Hastings. Orbison couldn't get there, but in the end, Inglis got in the way and just basically shielded Orbison off the ball, just watched it roll over the dead ball line. What a half of football. 26-0 to the Rabbitohs. I'm sure the Rabbitohs fans are up at the moment trying to applaud their team, but geez, there's not much happening in front of us in the Roosters den here.
Well, this is where all the Roosters members sit, so it's a bit hard for us. But I reckon there's a hell of a lot over there on the eastern side of the field who are all wearing the myrtle and cardinal, the green and the red, and they're obviously cheering for this South Sydney side that's opened up a very good lead at half-time. At half-time on the low scoreboard, it's South Sydney 26, thanks to tries to Inglis, Johnston, Gray, McGuinness and Carter. 3 goals to Reynolds, who lead the Roosters 0. And they haven't troubled the scorer yet as we go to the half-time break. Here's Mark Levy, courtesy of Best Sheds.
Thank you very much, David. 26-0 one-way traffic at the moment all the way of South Sydney. They lead the Roosters at half-time thanks to Best Sheds. Recapping that New South Wales Cup action for Shimano. North Sydney 28 defeated Newcastle 12. Wentworthville 28, Wyong 18. And Queensland Cup scores coming through thanks to Shimano as well. Sunshine Coast 25 has defeated Northern Pride 24. A field goal separating the two sides there at Sunshine Coast Stadium. Tweed Heads 28 defeated East Tigers 24 at Piggabeen Sports Ground. And PNG, too good for South Logan, 36 points to 18. But half-time here at Allianz Stadium in front of a good crowd. It is all one-way traffic. South Sydney 26 leading the Roosters 0. We break and come back with a look at the first half action thanks to Best Sheds. Welcome back, the continuous call team from Allianz Stadium on this Sunday afternoon. 26-0. South Sydney leads the Roosters at the break. The two teams in the dressing room. So let's have a look at the first half action with Daryl Broman and Mark Piggy Riddell. Thanks to the sponsors this year, Best Sheds. Great to have them on board. Daryl, what do you say? South Sydney 26, Roosters 0. Gee whiz, the Bunnies have just showed their class.
Yeah, they have been. They've just blown the Roosters off the park, but it's been on the back of possession. They looked good right from the start, the Bunnies, but not that good. But I was actually looking at completions before. They were saying on the screen before 100% completions for the Roosters and 54% of the ball. Well, that's not the case. They would have been lucky to have had 35% of the ball. But the Rabbitohs, when they've had it, have really just gone on with it. I mean, 5 tries they've scored. Inglis, Johnson, Gray, McGuinness and Carter have scored tries. It's been a procession. They've played extremely well. He'd be very, very happy with the Michael Maguire, but I mean, you would think possession will turn in the second half. But the Roosters had a fair bit of ball in the last, I'd say, 6 or 7 minutes, and they were trying to score, but they just couldn't get through the Rabbitohs' defence. Obviously, they'd be tired. The Rabbitohs' defence should have been fresh, and that may have been a reason for it. Half-time is certainly going to do the Roosters more good than it will the Rabbitohs. And I suppose if you're Trent Robertson, you just say, boys, you've got to hang in there. This will turn around. You will get the ball, and you will have some opportunities. So whether they can come back from 26-0, you'd have to say that won't be happening. But they have got enough class there, but they've got to be tired because they've just been dominated in the first half by the Rabbitohs, who have played pretty well.
Yep, exactly right. 26-0 the score at half-time. The Bunnies lead the Roosters. Mark Riddell's on the sideline. Piggy, you probably agree with Daryl Broman, what he said in the first half. I think he hit the nail on the head. Cody Walker, how would he be feeling at the moment? How good's his first-grade caper?
Oh, I certainly would. He'd be going, how easy is it? How good are we going? Yeah, look, everything Daryl just said is right. You know, it's just, at the end of the day, it's just the possession factor for this game. You know, South Sydney have had all the possession. We've got the heat down here. It's just tired out the Roosters. When the Roosters did get the bit of the ball at the back end of that first half, whatever they threw at the Bunnies are fresh. They've hardly done any defence. And that's been the story of the half. The Roosters turning over possession, penalties, back-to-back penalties. And then, you know, we saw Latrell Mitchell knock the ball down. We saw a couple of their players try and charge down kicks. When you do that, especially with the heat down here today, you're going to put yourselves under all sorts of pressure. And the South Sydney side, they've been able to capitalise on it. They've scored some really good tries. I think Adam Reynolds, he's been very good for mine in that first half, along with a number of others. And they look like they're going to go on with it, the Bunnies.
Well, Darryl, and speaking of Adam Reynolds, up this end of the field, that cross-field kick that put on the try, that was just a perfectly executed play and a pinpoint accurate kick in the end, which extended the lead for the Bunnies.
So it was gold, wasn't it? It was a beautiful kick from you, and it was a planned move. I mean, I think Piggy said in the call, that's what you do at training. That's exactly what they do at training. They'd practice for that, but it doesn't come off very often. But the kick was beautifully weighted. What happened was they did a run-around play. Inglis was hanging around Adam Reynolds. Now, what that does, that drags the defence in because they're thinking, oh, geez, Inglis is going to get it. We better try and nail him. So they all sort of came in. The winger came in a little bit, the Englishman, Joe Burgess. He knew that Reynolds, and he would have always set it up. Johnston would say it on the wing, just chipped over the top of Burgess, and Johnston just had to catch it and put it down. Beautifully orchestrated, and that was probably the try that really got them. I think that made it 20-0. Prior to that, 16-0. They were playing well enough as it was, but that was almost just a training run for them, and really they've looked really, really good. But they've had all the ball. I've got to say the Roosters have been, I don't want to say disappointing because they really haven't had an opportunity to show their wares, but the last 6 or 7 minutes of the half they did have opportunities. They were deep in the Bunnies territory, but they didn't have the finesse or the ability to score, and that's a worrying sign.
All right, 26-0. South Sydney leads the Roosters at half-time thanks to Best Sheds. Mark Riddell, you played under Trent Robinson. You've had a lot to do with him. What does he say to his troops in the dressing room at half-time? Is there any way back for the Chooks?
Oh, look, there certainly is. I suppose you'd only have to look to last night's game that we were at Campbelltown. We saw the Warriors. They were down by plenty as well at half-time. They come back out in the second half and were able to put on a fight back. They only just missed out getting there, but the quality in the Roosters side, you can never write them off. Whether they can do it against this quality side, South Sydney, and the way they're playing, I'm not so sure, but they need their fair share of possession. They need a little bit of luck to go their way in the second half, and I'm sure they'll be able to mount a comeback. All
right, Piggy, well, we'll let you head into the sheds and find out what both Trent Robinson and Michael Maguire are saying to their troops at the break. So we might head around the grounds at the moment because there is another game later on tonight between the Gold Coast Titans and the Newcastle Knights. It kicks off at 6:30 in New South Wales and Canberra, 5:30 in Queensland. It's the Gold Coast Titans and the Newcastle Knights from Seabus Super Stadium. Billy McGee set himself up at the interactive studio. Billy McGee, good afternoon to you once again.
Mark, a very good afternoon to you and everyone listening. A clear day up on the Gold Coast where the playing surface at Seabus Super Stadium is in great condition for this match between two sides who are tipped to be mixing it at the bottom of the table this season. But the Gold Coast and Newcastle will both be looking to show the experts those predictions are far from the truth. The Titans field a new look halves pairing with Tyrone Roberts facing his former club. He partners rookie playmaker Ashley Taylor, who has plenty of raps on him. He played the one first-grade game. He made his debut late last season for Brisbane. Chris McQueen also plays his first game for the club following his off-season move from South Sydney. Another signing from the Rabbitohs, John Olive, is tipped to make his first appearance for the Titans as well. He joined just days ago and is set to come in for skipper William Zillman, who has a calf problem. Well, speaking of changes, the Knights have made plenty of them during the off-season. Not only do they have a new coach in Nathan Brown, their 17 contains 5 debutants. Adding to that, 2 players, Trent Hodkinson and Paulie, are playing their first game for the club, so a new look Newcastle side. The Knights are tipped to be 1-17, but I'll confirm team changes an hour before kick-off. The referee for this match, Henry Perinara, his assistant Chris James. In the bunker, Brian Norrie and Matt Chekin. Touch judges are Clayton Sharp and Peter Goff. In the Holden Cup, Newcastle lead Gold Coast 22-6 at half-time, but the main game kicking off at 6:30, 5:30 up in Queensland at Seabus Super Stadium between the Gold Coast Titans and the Newcastle Knights.
Good on you, Billy. Thank you, mate. That's Billy McGee in the interactive studio. We head around the grounds this year for Sydney Markets, and we'll have Holden Cup scores coming through for Shimano. But for Best Sheds at half-time, South Sydney 26 leading the Roosters 0 here at Allianz Stadium. A reminder, you can register for the continuous call team footy tipping competition at rugbyleaguelive.com.au. You could win $5,000 to spend on a shed from Best Sheds, and to put inside a Toyota Hilux 4x2 Workmate ute valued at $27,000 on road from Noble Toyota, plus a 440-piece JBS toolkit worth $4,300 thanks to Blackwoods. Register for footy tipping now at rugbyleaguelive.com.au. New South Wales permit number LTPS 1601646. In Canberra, the permit number TP 1600394. 4. Obviously, you've missed out on round 1, but round 2 not too far away next week, so you can get in early and put in your tips and get involved in the rugbyleaguelive.com.au footy tipping competition. South Sydney 26, Roosters 0. Is there any way back for the Chooks? We'll find out after the break. Or will South Sydney go on and claim 2 competition points in round 1 of the Telstra Premiership? You're with the continuous call team. We're at South Sydney 26, Roosters 0. Welcome back. Great to have your company from Allianz Stadium. 26-0 South Sydney leads the Roosters. We started the game this morning, and this afternoon before kick-off, Daryl Broman made an accusation that Brad Fittler has been wearing women's sunglasses. He's downstairs with Mark Piggy Riddell.
Yeah, look, do you want me to ask him?
Yeah, ask him. Big Man's back.
Freddie, Big Man's been spreading vicious rumours about you that you're wearing female sunglasses today. Can you report on that?
Well, what happened, someone from Channel 9 came up to me and said, look, did you lose some sunnies last week? And straight away, I just say yes. And he goes, what type? And I just sort of, Ray-Bans have been really popular lately. I went, Ray-Bans. He went, yes. And that's it. That's how I got them.
He hasn't answered the question.
I don't know if that was wise. I'm not sure whose they are, but I'm sure someone's going to take them off me.
Are they men's or women?
I'm not sure. I didn't ask. I lost some Ray-Bans last week.
You're getting a free air fryer. Drop off.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that.
Here comes South Sydney back out for the second half. They lead 26 points to 0 over the Sydney Roosters. Back down to Pig. What do the two coaches have to say at the break?
Oh, well, it's not rocket science, really. It was more of the same from Michael Maguire. He mentioned what Daryl said about the possession and how it'll even itself up in this second half, and we've got to be tough enough upstairs to really defend well as a unit. For Coach Trent Robinson, well, he was really disappointed in the errors and the penalties that his side gave away. And, they need to get on the front foot early in this second half if they're going to be a chance.
All right, Peggy, thank you. The Roosters take up their position at the southern end of the ground. South Sydney defending the northern end of the ground, and the Roosters will be getting us underway. Everything's in readiness, just waiting on the referee. So back over to David Morrow for his call of the second half, where it's the South Sydney Rabbitohs 26 leading the Roosters 0.
And they're back out there, and just when you thought, well, nothing could get any worse, of course, the Roosters have to kick off for the second half, so South Sydney get first possession of the second stanza, although it's nowhere near as hot now, and as Piggy will probably tell us, the shade's now gone from basically the sideline where it started when the match started to 3/4 or 2/3 away across the field, so it's obviously not as hot out there. There's the kick-off from Latrell Mitchell as he sends it down towards Reynolds, and Reynolds immediately uploaded. Here's this man mountain, Zane Musgrove, and he runs it back, and he's tackled about 21 metres out now from his own goal line. He'll get up and play the ball to obviously the replacement hooker, Damien Cook, and they run the ball, South Sydney, out towards their own 30. A little bit of spinning around, a bit of turtling there as Moa finished up tackling Clark. Ball goes away through the hands. It comes to Sutton, and Sutton's tackled. Good low tackle there. Nicarima and Guerra involved. Here's Musgrove again. I tell you what, he and Tokarau look similar builds. No, the Musgrove might be more solid, but they're both big, tall, angular fellas, and gee, they can cause some problems as the ball is taken ahead. Might see a lot of these two kids over the next 10 years or so in the game. Last tackle coming. Reynolds pumps it high in the air and getting back for the ball. This is not going to be an easy one to take here for Burgess, but he goes back, he watches the ball, and look where the dead ball line was, and then took it comfortably on the full Indian goal area, and so a 7-tackle set ensures now that the Roosters at least get something to start the second half with in a positive manner.
Yeah, it was a pretty good set from the Bunnies, but it was a poor finish too. It was a bad kick from Reynolds. They've got the penalty here now, the Roosters, exactly what you probably would have expected and exactly what they needed here. So they're going to start this set right down in the Bunnies area, but it was a poor kick from Reynolds. It really was a nothing kick. The ball almost went over the dead ball on the full. Burgess caught it, and a lackadaisical start, I think, from the Bunnies for the second half.
Well, I'll get down and check with Pig in a moment if there's a breeze up there, because that ball did seem to, when Burgess first got underneath it, he started about a metre inside the dead ball line and finished up taking it inside the goal line and finished up taking it almost on the dead ball line. So I just wonder whether there is a touch of a breeze up there. Anyway, let's stick with the Roosters because they got the ball for one of the few occasions on an attacking position. Ball fed now to Hastings. Away it goes to Henderson, and Henderson's going to be tackled around about 11 metres out from the South Sydney goal line. 20 metres in from touch on this side of the field, the western side. Ball played to Friend. Friend floats across field, then opposite up to Hastings. Hastings gets it on to Guerra. Guerra tries to get through the defence on the far side, and that was Walker he tried to get through, and he's tackled around about 5 or 6 metres out now from South's line. 26 points to 0 in favour of South here on the low scoreboard. There's a South Sydney player down injured at the moment too as it goes to Hastings. Hastings gets it away. Nicarima throws a dummy, then throws a loose pass out the back door. Hastings gets there. Hastings falls on it. Hastings going to be held up, and he flicks a pass back to Nicarima. They lost 20 metres on the play. Now they're trying to get it back through Ferguson. Ferguson throws a dummy. Then he gets away from the defence. And now the ball comes back to Guerra. And Guerra loses the ball as he tried to keep it alive. And Musgrove picks it up and runs it back for South Sydney. Well, that was an opportunity. An opportunity for the Roosters. And there were two. But the last pass and the one where they lost 20 metres, it's just, I'm not sure what they were doing.
Oh, Jackson Hastings did a pretty good job there. He got back there and retrieved the ball. Then he got up and got a pass away. So they had an opportunity there, but it was Guerra who had the ball, I think, knocked down by one of the Bunnies players, went backwards, and now the Bunnies have retrieved the ball and now on the attack. I thought there was an opportunity there for the Roosters. I'm not sure if the Bunnies have come out with the right intent here in the second half. I think they need to try and go on with this.
Musgrove was another man who took the ball up strongly. Gee, he's done some work since he's been out there as they explore the short side. A high tackle over there, and but the referee said no, that's okay. It was Walker who was taken. It was only just a little slap. It wasn't a vicious tackle. Up goes the kick from Reynolds. This time he's adjusted it. Burgess coming for the ball, takes it superbly, and then he throws the ball, I think, back on the infield to Ferguson. I think that's what he did, and that was fraught with danger because the ball rolled along the ground, and there were a couple of South Sydney players who may have, had they been a little bit more aware, got there before Ferguson. Gee, that was it was a risky play, wasn't it? I mean, he caught the ball beautifully, and then he was nailed by Alex Johnston, but as he was sort of falling to the ground, he just threw the ball along the ground and wobbled along the ground. Fortunately, Ferguson was there to pick it up. As we see Guerra going forward here, they're still not up to halfway, the Roosters. Now 4 comes to Friend, and Friend offers the ball up. It goes to Hastings. That's the pass. That looked forward. It was forward. Now, just go down to Pig for a minute. He was right there in front of where Burgess just threw that ball. Was it my eyes deceiving me, or was it a panic-type pass, or someone who's behind 26-0?
Yeah, well, I think so. He took a beautiful take. And Alex Johnston hit him pretty well, and I think he was looking to offload it out the back. And he saw a few of his players around the football, but they weren't paying attention. And Blake Ferguson, he was able to get on the football and save what could have been a try for the Bunnies, but it's not really going to matter anyway. They've coughed up possession here with a forward pass. They're their own worst enemy at the moment, the Roosters.
Well, it's another error, isn't it? They've dropped the ball in one set in the opening part of the second half. Now they're throwing a forward pass.
Well, he's under a lot of pressure, Jackson Hastings here. Now, I've got to say, he didn't have a great first half, but he had a few mates there with the Roosters, but he needed to execute better in the first half. Some of those kicks were poor. He's then now thrown a forward pass. You know, he hasn't got a lot of experience around him as the Bunnies get another penalty here.
Take her out. Look, he was comatose around the South Sydney player.
But Hastings, he's only a boy, and he's going to learn from this. But he needs to be on his game here because at the moment he's not.
Low scoreboard, South Sydney 26 leading the Roosters 0. 34 minutes to go in the game, and here they come again. South Sydney as the kick from Reynolds finds touch, 15 metres out, and here they go, the South Sydney side, as this young fella, Hymel Hunt, gets the ball and he offers it up to Reynolds, and it goes to Carter, and Carter, he's had a strong game in the back row, hasn't he?
Oh, he's annoying. He's the sort of bloke you'd hate to play against. I reckon he'd be yapping at you. He's like his father. His father was punishing.
Bit like Pig.
Good bloke, but punishing.
Ball played, I mean that in the right way, as the ball goes to Musgrove. It's a shocking pass that goes to Reynolds. Was it a knock on? Yes, it was. Musgrove got a pass away, but it was around Reynolds' ankles, and he's not happy with the pass, but it wasn't a good one. And Reynolds is a bit upset with himself for not catching it, but really, he's thinking about getting a good pass and wondering whether he goes to the line and putting the ball in Greg Inglis's hands and trying to set something up.
Yeah, it's an average ball, wasn't it? I mean, it was knocked forward. It went on, then it hit Copley on the hand. So it went forward from Reynolds. It's going to be a Roosters scrum and feed here. You know, the opening 7 minutes of this half has been less than entertaining, I must admit.
It's like the game last night. And I remember talking to Mark Riddell after about 5 or 10 minutes of the second half last night. I said to you, gee, this is really degenerated in the opening 10 minutes of the second half. You agree with that?
Oh, exactly right. It's a carbon copy of last night. I tell you what, it's hard, isn't it? Like, teams get away to these leads and they just think that they can go on with it and roll through, and it's not the way it works.
Now another pass, the knock on by the Roosters, another mistake with the ball. And so South Sydney get a reprieve, and they're going to go on the attack from 25 metres out, and they're leading on the low scoreboard 26 points to 0. Let's go round the grounds for Sydney Markets, and here he is, Billy McGee.
13 minutes into the second half of the Holden Cup. Newcastle 34, Gold Coast 6.
A lot of head shaking going on here at the moment. Jake Friend, look, he wasn't expecting that, Ferguson. Friend had the ball. He went from dummy half. Ferguson was sort of running next to him, but wasn't expecting the ball, and Friend just threw it too hard at him. It's a bad play from a good player.
Yeah, they're having trouble finding 6 players to pack in the scrum here, the Roosters. They almost used up the 35 seconds, and of course if they'd gone past that, the ref would have penalised them. As South Sydney take the ball ahead, they're only 21 metres out. They're going to play the ball and take it ahead as Cook, and Cook gets it away to Reynolds. Reynolds floats across field, on it goes to Walker. Walker gets it away to Sutton. Sutton's brought down. He's only about 10 metres out now from the Roosters line. Gee, there's a lot of running and a lot of movement here. Cook goes from dummy half. Musgrove goes hard and straight. He's not far away from scoring on his first grade debut. Have a look at him. He's such a tall fella. Now from dummy half, Cook gets it away, and Cook gets a lovely pass away, racing through Turner. Turner may have scored a try here. They're going to double check here something, because certainly the referee wasn't certain. He thinks it's a try. It was a lovely short ball. I'm certain it was Turner who took it. He went racing into the in-goal area to put it down. We're going courtesy of Coates Hire off to the Graham Annesley bunker to check whether Turner has scored South Sydney's 6th try.
Well, I reckon Maxwell blew the whistle before he even put the ball down. He was going to go to the video referee. They're saying whether there was an obstruction here. I don't think so.
I thought it was just a short ball.
Anyway, roll back a fraction, mate.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Did you see anything big? I did.
Yeah, it's the bloke inside. You can see the South Sydney, the first ball runner from the dummy half, just whether he obstructs anyone going through.
Oh, I get you. Yeah, I know. Well, he looks as if he's just gone straight through.
That's fine.
We're just confirming that there's no obstruction. We're going to have a look at the spider cam.
Yeah, they're just going to have a look at the spider cam, as we know. This is, of course, the Coates Hire Graham Annesley bunker we're listening to. Absolutely.
No, that's not spider cam, mate. That's not spider cam.
But you don't need spider cam. It's a try.
It looked a try. It looked as if there was...
Okay, go through.
So I didn't see any Rooster even put their hand up saying I was obstructed.
The defender has chased inside and there's no obstruction.
Yeah.
Need to now sign off on the grounding.
Now we're signing off on the grounding. It was Turner that took the ball.
Right,
it's amazing in little tight situations like that, Daryl, how you think it's someone and you think there's 3 players going at once who actually got the ball, but Turner it is who's got it. And South Sydney are about to hit the lead on the low scoreboard 30-0. Kick to come from virtually in front.
Once again, it was hardly even a play. It was almost a second man play. I think it was Wera came out of the line, and I think he tried to knock the ball down. He wasn't quick enough to do it. The ball missed him. It went straight to Turner. He just had a clear run to the line. That's as simple as it gets. But that, again, I reckon they've got their energy back. That's just a Paul Reed. And Turner now has gone to the sideline. Now, this bloke's had problems with his neck, as we all know. He's got, I'd say, a tingle in his right arm here. He's sort of looking at his neck and he's trying to move his neck around, which is a real worry for this young bloke, and I feel for him.
I would think if there's any problems whatsoever,
get him off.
Take him off, for heaven's sake. I mean,
he'd want to play, but he
I know.
This is... He's now got his arm up. The doctor's there. They're checking his neck, and look, he's not in any great discomfort, but there's obviously a tingle there.
Here's Reynolds moving in. Can he convert the Turner try? Kenny Watt, low scoreboard. South Sydney 32, Roosters 0. 30 minutes to go in the game around the grounds for Sydney Markets. Billy McGee.
22 minutes remaining in the Holden Cup. Newcastle 34, Gold Coast 6.
Well, they've let him stay back out there.
Yeah, well, he's a doctor. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and I dare say he's probably said, look, I think there's everything all right. But I dare say a young man who's had the neck problems he's had, anything, Daryl, would make you feel, am I all right?
You'd be apprehensive, wouldn't you?
Of course you would.
You'd be apprehensive. It'd be on his mind. He's now shaking his arm, so he's clearly got a tingle down his right arm somewhere along the line, but hopefully he's okay.
Now ball played by Clark, and they move out of... they go the short side, and the pass from Cook to Sutton was flat at best. And all of the Roosters people in front of me were saying, surely that's forward, but I think they've even given up now. They realise that on the low scoreboard, 32 points to 0 would probably indicate the Souths are going to get the 2 competition points.
Well, let's hope their team doesn't give up, because if they do, they're going to get beaten by a million. There's a big run
big
here.
break too, as they make the ball again very quickly down that left side, and it was Cook who half got away, went to Walker, and now it goes to Cook. Cook puts a grubber kick in, and that's as bad as a lot of the other. That's the thing. I wonder how South Sydney could have gone had their grubber kicks been half decent. That's at least the 5th one I know that has found legs. Kenny Dowell came up with the ball for the Roosters, but tell you what, their grubber kicking today, for the most part, has been very ordinary. Nearly every grubber kick has found a Roosters leg.
Yeah, and that was a replacement, Damien Cook, who has the potential to cut them apart here, the Roosters, late in this game.
Penalty.
They're all over him here. Once again, it's Carter. I reckon he would be the most penalised player in the game. I have got absolutely no doubt. For all the good stuff he does, geez, he's got some crap in him.
But gee, Piggy, he'd be one of those players that'd get under your skin. He's got a bit of Mick Ennis in him.
Oh, he certainly does. Look, that's just how he plays the game. But you got to be careful. There's a fine line, and sometimes he gets across it or even over it. And he can't, put his team under the pressure that they are.
So here they go, the Roosters, on the back of the penalty they received because of Carter's indiscretion. It goes to Hastings, and Hastings takes it ahead. He's tackled about 2 or 3 metres out on the goal line. He'll play the ball to Friend. As Friend gets the ball away, he gets it on to Tokerau. Tokerau goes without it, and would you believe Reynolds picks up the dregs and runs it out for South Sydney. Wow.
If it goes to the second man, I reckon he scores under the sticks here. As in front of us, a few Roosters supporters already leaving the game. We're only 12 minutes into the second half, they're already off, but he scores then, I reckon, if he takes that, because he was open under the sticks, put it down, but that's just the way it's gone for the Roosters today. Nothing is going right.
Cook gets the ball away, and Gray comes in to take some pressure off his forwards. Good run too, as he's tackled 10 short of the halfway line. Cook at dummy half, he comes to the short side. Now Johnson takes it up, so the two wingers have had a gallop each in this set, which takes a bit of pressure off the forwards, who really haven't, they're not that tired. Goes to Inglis, now it goes to Walker, and Walker throws a dummy. Gee, I thought for a moment he got past Guerra. There was a man from the outside, and that was Nicarima, who actually took his man. Ball goes out to the left side of the field to Sutton, and Sutton, he makes some inroads down there over on that eastern side. He's tackled 22 or 23 metres out. He's about 15 metres in from the eastern touchline. Last play coming up. It's fed to Reynolds. Reynolds will put a kick back in. It should go straight down the throat of Ferguson. It does. Ferguson is tackled. But I tell you what, the man that made the tackle, I reckon it's Reynolds. He's gone over the top of Cook, I should say, and Cook has hit the deck. I'm not sure whether he got a shoulder injury or whether...
Might have copped a knee then, because he sort of caught it in the air, and then Reynolds went in to tackle him, and he's just put his hand up to his left eye there. He might have a little cut there.
He stopped as if he was shot, didn't he? Tokerau brings the ball back to the halfway line, almost in centre field. Little leg pull, and penalty goes to the Roosters.
Yeah, Grevesmuir's out there at the moment. They take the tap. Jake Friend takes the tap and goes forward. Probably get another penalty here. I doubt whether they were onside, but the referee's going to let him play on.
He ran 25 metres, Darryl, so you've got to let him get away with it now. Ball comes away, goes to Hastings. Hastings on to Evans, who's back out there. And Evans is going to be asked to play it about 15 metres shy of the goal line on the low scoreboard. South's 32, Roosters 0, after South led 26-0 at half-time. Ball played to Friend. Friend goes the open side. It comes away to Hastings. In turn, it goes to Ferguson. Ferguson throws a dummy. They don't accept it. Good tackle over there from Goodwin initially. And they're going to play the ball around about 10 metres out in the goal line. Open side, Guerra offloads. Napa goes one way, then comes back against the grain, tries to take three defenders, one of whom is Sutton, and he's tackled about 2 or 3 metres out in the goal line. He'll play it to Friend, and Friend offloads the ball. It comes to Hastings. On it goes to Nicarima. Nicarima gets it away through the hands quickly. It goes to Burgess, and Burgess scores his first try in the NRL. Good quick hands through the Roosters' hands to the left side, and the Roosters finally on the low scoreboard. South's 32, Roosters 4.
Well, it's taking how long? 50-something minutes or so, but they do score a try. Joe Burgess scores his first try in the NRL, but it was beautifully worked on the inside. It went from the hooker and captain Jake Friend, and then a couple of second-man balls, cut out a couple of forwards, went to the halfback Hastings. He gave it to the 5'8 Nicarima on the outside to Copley, and then hands to Joe Burgess, scored in the corner. He'd be very happy with that. Yeah, he won't be delighted given the circumstances, but they'll be happy they've got on the board. I see Cook's coming off here. He hasn't been on very long. He might have an injury here, Cookie. That was before when he went in to try and tackle the fullback. And I can see Reynolds is off as well, is he?
Well, Reynolds is seeking some treatment. I'm just going to ask Piggy. Nicarima, we talked about him giving trouble. And look at this. The little double pump just created the doubt in the opposition in the defensive line.
Yeah, certainly did. He summed things up nicely. He knew he could orchestrate an overlap there for his side, and then thought it was good hands too from Copley to get Burgess over in the corner. Just a side note, boys. I just think, South Sydney, they should, with 24 minutes remaining, go on and win this game comfortably. What do you guys think about Luke Keary? He'll come back into the side, will he, next week? Or, you got Walker, who's played pretty well today.
If you're asking me, he comes back into the side. I think he's a quality player. Walker's been good, though, but, geez, I'd have Keary in the team.
Well, we'll wait and see. Here's Mitchell, the attempted conversion on his left side, and it's a great kick from Latrell Mitchell. He converts the Burgess try. So the two Roosters wingers have scored so far this afternoon. One with a try, one with a goal kick, and on the low scoreboard, South Sydney 32, Roosters 6 around the grounds courtesy of Sydney Markets. And here's Billy McGee.
15 minutes left in the Holden Cup. Newcastle 34, Gold Coast 12.
That's a good kick, that.
Beautiful kick. I mean, it's the first one of the day. He's obviously a player with a great deal of ability, Latrell Mitchell. They've been talking him up for a couple of years, and I saw him in the Nines. He is a quality player. They've tried to compare him to Inglis, which I think is a little bit difficult for that young bloke, but he's a good player.
Yeah, well, it's like when Brad and Astor first started, and they were comparing him to some of the greats. It's not easy when you get compared to greats and you start your first grade career.
Yeah, I feel sorry for those ones that get compared to me.
So do they.
I haven't seen many of them. Maybe Varve the other night.
You sell yourself a bit short
He's a
sometimes.
unit, Varve.
Yeah, you had a few skills.
Few, hello. Hell of a lot.
Ball played to Friend as the Roosters bring the ball back, and now bringing it up is Tokarau, and he's tackled around about 8 metres short of the halfway line. 20 in from touch, eastern side of the field. 23 minutes to go in the game, and on the low scoreboard, South leads the Roosters 32-6. Tell you what, he's got some bandages out there now as Adam Reynolds as he runs back out of the field. I'm not sure the bandage isn't covering his eyes, as Hastings is allowed to run a long way before he puts a kick up, and going high and taking it superbly is Inglis, and Inglis has gone straight through. He's up to the 40-metre line, and then he runs into the only man in the game, I reckon, that can stop him one-on-one, and that's Ferguson. I tell you what, that they're very similar bills, aren't they, Ferguson and Inglis? And I thought when he got away then he was going to score, but I'm not sure he's not 100% here, Inglis. He's hit the deck. He might have just got a jar on that left knee. He's a bit wobbly. Gee, when I thought he went straight through, I thought, this is going to be interesting.
Reynolds is off. He's going straight up the tunnel. I think Piggy might have something on Reynolds.
Well, we might go down to Piggy in just a second as getting up to play the ball slowly here, the South Sydney side, as Burgess is back out there for his second stint. We'll just stick with this set of 6 because South Sydney on the attack again, and they're going to play the ball to McInnes. McInnes gets it away to Walker. Walker long ball comes away to Sutton, and Sutton takes it to the line. Can he get through? He can't. He's tackled about 15 metres out on the goal line. He'll get up and play the ball to McInnes. They keep it going to the left. Walker goes to the line. Walker puts another kick in. Would you believe it comes off the legs of a Roosters player? Through the hands it goes. And would you believe that come up in the end? I think you'll find that over there on the far side, Bryson Goodwin has got the luckiest bounce and rebound in the world and scored another South Sydney try.
It was a miracle.
Remarkable.
It was a miracle ball from Turner. Now they put the kick in. There was ricochets everywhere. Turner grabbed it. He just basically threw it anywhere. Have a look at this. Now they put the kick through here. The ball has bounced off a Roosters player. The kick came from Walker.
Another one that hit legs on line, Chad.
Hit legs. It came off. I think it was Nicarima. The ball just bounced in the air. It went straight to Turner, who got the ball. You thought he might have been able to get over the line. He's then got it. Now whether he's fumbled it into...
Have a knock on by Roosters. Rabbitohs take possession cleanly. They're going through to grounding.
Now we're going to see.
I'll tell you what he did. He took the ball here. The ball came off Nicarima. Turner took it and he just flicked it out the back. It could have gone anywhere. It was taken by Goodwin. That's a try.
Need to make sure that the Rabbitohs take possession of this pass cleanly. Give me camera 3.
Now they're going. This is the courtesy of Coates Hire, the Graham Annesley bunker in operation.
From there, isn't it?
Cody Walker put a kick in, it rebounded off Nicarima, and then a contest for the ball between Turner and Nicarima saw Turner with it, and he flicked it out rather miraculously before it hit the deck, and picking up the rebound, Goodwin has scored what we think is a try. What does the bunker think? Try. And Piggy, I tell you what, that is basically typified the Roosters' luck and the good luck of South Sydney this afternoon.
Oh, look, it certainly has. It's been that way all afternoon. They got the bounce of the ball again, the South Sydney side, but Kyle Turner, he was chasing the kick, so he was there, he was in position. But as you said, Turner flicked it out the back and Goodwin was there to pick up the pieces and score. Yeah, just on Adam Reynolds, he went straight up the tunnel. Well, he came reeling out of a tackle right in front of me. Straight away, he signalled to the bench. The trainers came out and he was indicating that it was his jaw. So they had a look at him for a while there, and then the trainer decided that it was no good and he had to get off straight away. So there's some worrying signs there for Adam Reynolds and his jaw.
Well, the worrying signs are, he's been injured a lot early in the season in recent years. Well, that solves the Keary problem if he's got a problem, doesn't it? And Keary and Walker are half and 5'8". It's not the way that South Sydney want to resolve the problem, though.
No, he had a pretty good game today too. He's probably as good as he'd played most of last year. I thought he's been good today, Adam Reynolds.
So Goodwin taking over the goal-kicking duty, 17 metres in, 18 metres out. There's the kick. It's true. He converts his own try on the low scoreboard. South Sydney 38, leading the Roosters 6. 20 minutes to go in the first or the second half. We're having a drinks break. And we might go round the grounds for Sydney Markets. Billy McGee.
11 minutes until full time in the Holden Cup. Newcastle 34, Gold Coast 18.
And it's got certainly an element of finality about it now, Darryl, with 32 points at the moment. It's always probably from half time, but they've gone on with the job now, that the South Sydney side.
Yeah, they have. They've got sparked up a little bit. They've 7 try scorers, all individual ones. There hasn't been a double, which is quite unusual. Inglis has scored, Johnston, Goodwin, Gray, McGuinness, Carter, Turner. Quite remarkable. So you would think, given the fact there's still about 20 minutes to go in this game, they really should go on with it. The Roosters, you can't say they've got nothing to play for, but really they know they can't win the game. They'll still be trying to stop the Rabbitohs from getting in many more points on the board, but momentum is an amazing thing. And at 38 points to 6, it's going to be awfully difficult for the Roosters to stop, I think, the Bunnies from scoring a truckload of more points.
Yeah, well, it's not sure what you think, Pig, but how do you get out there and spark the Roosters to make sure there isn't any more blood left?
Oh, it's tough. I tell you what, it's a tough situation to be in. Really, you've got to probably start sending messages about finishing the game strong and taking that into next week. But at 38 points to 6, it's very, very tough. I tell you what.
Well, the Roosters got Canberra GIO next week. Got 3 p.m. on a Saturday. Hello. Yeah. I don't know if I'd like to be down there at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. And the Bunnies have got Newcastle at ANZ at 5:30 next Saturday afternoon as well.
Which is the game that Mark and I will be at to call for the continuous call team. And we'll see Souths and Newcastle out at ANZ next Saturday evening, the early game, because it's not easy for them. They'll come up against the Canberra side that got out of jail yesterday, but they'll be reasonably confident despite the fact they might have to have a new halves pairing.
Well, gee whiz, both sides could be without a few halves. It'd be interesting, won't it?
Here it is. Here they come again, and Carter brings the ball up over the halfway, keeps it alive at the last minute. Wasn't the best of passes, and Inglis went back for it. Inglis brings it back. He was trying to, I think he saw Inglis there and said, wait, hold on, there's a chance here. If I give it to Inglis, he might do something here, but the pass was bad, but now they've got a penalty because they've rolled. Oh, they didn't roll away. Gee, that's another one that, oh, well. I didn't think it was that bad.
Well, the ball's been lost.
The ball's been knocked, and he's ruled that the Rooster player, Guerra's knocked it out of his hands, so that's fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it was a 50-50,
I think GI might have sucked them in a little bit there, but here's another opportunity for them. They're only 30 metres out. You'd think they'd score here.
The way they're playing and the way the Roosters have had to defend throughout this game, especially during the heat. In the heat in the first half, the Roosters had no ball, as the ball is brought back by Clark, and Clark is tackled. And I mean that, for those that didn't hear or didn't have anything to do with the first half, there was almost a 20-minute period where South Sydney had the ball and the Roosters hardly touched it except to kick off. And in the heat of the day, that would have taken a lot of petrol out of them. Ball comes to McInnes, and away it goes to Grebsmill. And Grebsmill charges onto the ball, and he's tackled only a few metres out from the goal line. He plays it to McInnes. They go back now. It goes to Burgess. Can't get through. He wants to score because the Burgess on the other side has. And he's going to be playing the ball, Big Sammy, underneath the goalpost. It's fed now to McInnes. McInnes puts a little grubbing kick in. Back there, the ball is grabbed by Hastings. Hastings is grabbed by 1, by 2. It was originally Sutton, and then 4 more arrive, and in the end it's going to be a line drop out. I thought for a moment he was going to get back in. They just got there, and a number of them and the speed with which they got there to give Hastings no opportunity.
Well, nothing's gone their way. I mean, the ball went in the air, then Hastings almost got to the line, but he was grabbed firstly, I think, by Sutton, and then the troops arrived, and there was about 6 of them, just monstered him. He basically went to ground there. So once again, they're going to get another set of 6 thrown at them here, the Roosters. As I said, they'll do well to hang on here.
Vincent Lulawai, I think, is about to come on for his first grade debut.
Is he part of the famous Lulawai family?
Well, I don't know. Piggy, no?
Yeah, Piggy knows the Lulawais. He's a big fan of them.
Do you know?
Let's ask him. Piggy, do you know the Lulawais?
Which Lulawais are we talking about?
Vincent?
Yeah, well, I coached Vince for 2 years, a couple of years ago in my SG ball team.
Oh, good. What do you know about him?
Mate, he's a great kid. He's a big back rower, mate. Real good engine as well. So I feel sorry for him a little bit having to come into the game at this stage, but he's got a big future in the game. Have a look at him.
Beautiful.
Here they come through McInnes as the ball is fed away to Burgess. A long ball goes away to Cody Walker. He puts a kick in, and yet it's another kick that doesn't go where he wants it to go. It's easily plucked out of the air by Kenny Dowell. He had to react well, Kenny Dowell, but he did it well. He did it because he's such a good footballer, Kenny Dowell. Oh, I'll tell you what, almost a little knock on there. But again, Walker's kicking game hasn't been great.
No, a bit of white line fever then, I think. I reckon they had a 4-on-3 there. I reckon if he ran straight and used hands, but I know he's 26, but this is his first NRL game.
Oh, going straight through. Hastings offloads the ball to Copley. Copley sends it back on the inside to Hastings. Hastings gets rid of a couple. He offloads the ball to Burgess, and Burgess is going to score a double on his NRL debut, the left winger for the Roosters. And on the low scoreboard, South Sydney leads 38-10 with a kick to come. 16 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah, that came from just Jackson Hastings. Got the ball, just went through some, I've got to say, timid South Sydney defence there. They just let him go through. He then threw the ball back on the inside to Copley. Copley did a good job. He wrong-footed, I think it was Inglis, and then he got the ball on the outside to Joe Burgess. He just loomed up out of nowhere. I haven't seen a lot of Joe Burgess, but he appears to me as though he can position himself. He knows where the ball is, and clearly he can find the try line. He scored 2 today in a badly beaten side. Now, this is pretty average defence here. Sutton was one of them who missed him. He just went straight through. Then he threw it to Copley. Copley got it back to the halfback Hastings. Hastings then saw Burgess loom up on the outside. I'd like to see him in a race over 100. There's no one's going to catch him. He sprinted away from Inglis. But that was a consolation try for them. But one game in the NRL, he scored 2 tries. I had about 10 years, scored 9. Outrage.
Here's Latrell Mitchell. He's about, 2 or 3 metres in.
On his first kick, he'll kick this.
And 22 metres out. Opportunity to bring them up to 12 points on the low scoreboard. As he just goes back a couple, moves in. There's the kick from Mitchell. It starts towards the centre of the park and finishes up nearer the corner post and the goal post. You know how to put the mock on someone. Imagine it. And last year I think we got him to call a couple, didn't we?
Hello, back Savaro yesterday. It got home.
Yeah, well, that was good. It carried your weight and still got there, didn't it? It's 38-10 on the low score.
Oh, Thirsty, you've been on fire all afternoon. A little bit more about Joey Burgess. Daryl's right with him. He's really, really good in his positional play, and he's a really good finisher of the football, and that's 2 of the big things you want from your wingers. So hopefully we see a lot more of Joe Burgess and the Roosters.
The thing I like about the English guys who come over here and play, and some people might think they come for the money. Some of them do. But I think most of them come over here for the right reason, and that's to prove himself in the best competition that there is. And I would suspect that's what Joe Burgess has done.
I would think you're dead right. He's probably getting paid pretty well as well.
Yeah, well, he probably is, but, I
agree with you.
He didn't make the side straight away, so, they probably didn't pay what you might expect for him.
Around the grounds for Sydney Markets, Billy McGee.
4 minutes until full time. Newcastle 34, Gold Coast 18 in the Holden Cup.
And Jake Friends just put in a kick that I'm not saying he would want it back, but if you were trying to play the game out and score some points, it was a kick for nobody except Gray and Inglis, and Gray picked it up. And now Alex Johnson runs it back for South Sydney. 13 and a half to go. But you don't blame him. When you're down by 38 points to 10 on the low scoreboard, I suppose what the best thing you can do is try and keep South Sydney down their end of the park and not let any more points be put on you. But they've got the ball out to the left side of the field as it goes to Cody. Quick hands from Carter away to Gray, and Gray makes it over the halfway line. There's about 15 metres in from touch on that eastern side of the field. It's played to McInnes. McInnes offloads to Burgess, and Sam Burgess takes to the head and he's tackled around about 35, 36 metres out from the goalpost down the southern end of the field. Ball goes back to the left. It goes to Walker, and Walker puts a kick in. This may go dead. I think it will go dead. Only just. It was a good kick. It sat up, and then at the last moment it just got that little run on when it gets a little bounce. And it just went over the dead ball line, which means the Roosters get a 7 tackle set from the centre of their own 20 metre line. 25,125. I think I might have said that earlier, but if I didn't, I'm remiss for not saying, because it was given to me some time ago. That's the crowd. 25,125 as the ball is played, and it comes across to Napa. Napa tries to take it down the centre of the ruck. He runs into Tyrrell and Clark. Another defender in there in the form of Grevesmuir. Friend gets into dummy half. He throws a pass back to the centre of the field, then to Guerra. Guerra's going to be tackled about 42 or 43 metres out from South line. 12 to go in the match, and it's all the South Sydney. A great tackle coming out of the line. Lulawai was taking the ball up, and Clark hit him, and so too did Sam Burgess. And in the end, I think Clark's knocked himself out.
Yeah, he's wobbly. He'll have to go off here, Clark. Burgess came up, so did Clark. He's copped a knock to the head, so they'll take him straight off. That'll be the last we'll see of Jason Clark this afternoon. But speaking of Sam Burgess, he'd be pretty happy with it. Obviously be happy with this result here. As I have a look at this and just see what happened here. He's gone in to make the tackle. Looks like he's hit his head. Might have copped a boot at the end, maybe a knee, but he got up very wobbly. So, don't have a shower, mate.
I thought he copped Burgess Burgess flung Lulawai round. I think he might have copped his hip in the side of the head. And he's had a few concussions, I think, in the past.
Yeah, I'm looking at the bench here, and Reynolds is back on the bench now. That would indicate to me that his jaw's okay. I mean, he wouldn't be sitting there. I doubt whether he'll be coming back on, but he wouldn't be sitting there if he's got a problem with his jaw.
Last tackle coming up for the Roosters as Clark's gone up, and now Friend puts a little kick over the top. It's going to be picked up here by Alex Johnson, and it is. And Johnson looks up and he then says, give it to Greg Inglis and see what happens. Well, not much, because Inglis went straight into Napa, and he's not going to get through there. He's tackled 12 metres out from his own goal line. 11 and a half to go on the low scoreboard. South lead 38-10 over the Roosters. And it's 22 metres out on their own goal line. South Sydney taking the ball down the centre of the park. They go back to the left. It comes away to Carter, and he's had a busy game. Gee, you're going to have your work cut out working out the man of the match. Yeah, there's been a lot of good players out there.
Well, I'm tipping it'll come from the Bunnies.
Thanks, Einstein. Ball quickly goes to the left side of the field, and they get it away to Goodwin. Goodwin beats one, beats two, throws a dummy. He ran away from his support play. He sends a pass out the back that I'm certain has been knocked down by the Roosters. This will be a knock on by the Roosters. But I thought initially if Goodwin had thrown the pass to Gray and then backed him up, there might have been a try. But it's easy to play the game in the broadcast box. Yeah. I can tell you that.
He went straight through, didn't he? And then he tried to get a ball away, and it was knocked down, I think, by Nikorima, and then he sort of regained it. So this is just going to... Well, the last 10 minutes, 45, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be pretty average, I would think. Both sides, we're looking at the clock. They'll be happy to get off here. Both sides, I think, would be delighted to get off. But once again, Carter got the ball. He threw a nice ball on the outside to Goodwin. He went straight through the metre to defence. He threw a dummy.
To his credit, I just had a look at that. There was a Roosters player there, perhaps blocking his pathway to Gray, so perhaps he did the right thing. As I said, it's easy to play the game here. Anyway, here's South Sydney. They're on the attack after they've won the scrum. It goes to Sutton. Sutton holds it up. Grevesmuir for the line. Great tackle. Lulawai over the top. He stopped Grevesmuir from getting there. Quick hands to Heimel Hunt. Hunt hasn't scored yet. Now he has as he wrestles his way clear of three defenders and scores another South Sydney try.
Well done, and look at them all rushing in. He must be a popular member of this side because they've come from everywhere to go in there and congratulate Heimel Hunt. Now, Heimel Hunt, I'm certain, had a couple of seasons at the Gold Coast, could hardly crack it for a game at the Gold Coast. I've got to say, what I've seen from him in the trials and today, he's a handy player. He's keeping Ava'a out of this side, and he scored a try here. And he had a lot of work to do then. Burgess was there. I think your man was there too, Picky, trying to stop him, Lulawai.
And he got past Copley initially, which is never easy.
To cover him. And as I said, they've come from everywhere to congratulate him, which indicates to me that the Bunnies boys love Heimel Hunt. What a name, Heimel Hunt.
Yeah, well, Piggy, that was a lot of hard work, but he deserves the try.
Yeah, he certainly does. And you've got to remember, boys, I think he's keeping out Kirisamava'a as well. So he's certainly done well this afternoon. And just on the, Darryl's mentioned the players all running in. Well, I'm pretty sure it's a Michael Maguire tactic. He actually bets the players that the last one in has to do with extras or something like that. He wants all these players in there as soon as they can, celebrating the tries that they score.
Did he do that at Wigan?
He certainly did.
Were you excluded from it?
No, but I was always around the ruck, usually not far from where they
you
scored.
should have been excluded. You know what you should have done, Piggy?
What's
Wigan?
that?
You should have told the blokes just to teach him a lesson. We don't score any tries.
We were too busy winning the comp over there, Darryl.
Of course.
So here's Goodwin trying to convert the try. Of course, Reynolds, he's still on the bench down there. Goodwin taking over the goal-kicking duties. He's so far kicked 1 from 1. He's about 9 metres in from touch. He's 20 metres out. We've got about 8.5 to go in the game. Low scoreboard, South 42, Roosters 10. Is it about to be 44-10? Can they get a half century? Here comes Goodwin. There's the kick. It looks good off the boot. I think it's going to go across the face, though. It looked great when it left the boot, but then it just continued on the same trajectory. And so the scoreline remains South Sydney 42 and the Roosters 10 on the low scoreboard. Around the grounds for Sydney Markets, Billy McGee.
Full time in the Holden Cup, Newcastle 34, Gold Coast 18. In the first grade, I have team changes. John Olive in jersey 20 will make his Titans debut on the wing, with David Mead going to fullback. Will Zillman is out due to injury. For the Knights, they're 1-17, but Lachlan Fitzgibbon, who was named at 16, is not playing. Daniel Safiti will make his debut in jersey 18. That's how they were named. They just changed jerseys for size.
Isn't it amazing? There's Damien Cook just took an amazing catch to restart the action. There was a kick-off that was neither long nor short. It was in no man's land, and there's a short pass that Grasmill's knocked down and the Roosters get the ball back. But he had to run a good 15 metres backwards when you'd think someone had come 15 metres forward. And in the end, he committed himself to the ball and basically saved the day. And at the end of a game, that's the sort of thing a coach loves to see. No, from Damien Cook's perspective, not from some of the other players' perspective.
He's a pretty good player, Damien Cook. But
he's a good buy for him.
I've got to say that I think the other bloke has outplayed him today, Cameron McGuinness. He had a nice start to the game. And McGuinness was out there when it was like 26-0, so clearly he's had a nice opening 40 minutes or so, but he's done everything asked of him, Damien Cook. He'll be a good buy for them as the year goes on.
And the friend goes away to the right. It comes to Hastings. Hastings, second man play to Nicarima. A cut out pass to Kenny Dowell. Kenny Dowell for the line. Can't get through. Good tackle over there made by Goodwin. Ball's played. They come back the open side. Comes from Mitchell to Nicarima to Guerra to Lou. And Lou's going to be asked to play it. 7 metres out from the goal line. Up the northern end of the field. 6.5 to go in the game. And a little grubber kick then from Friend is easily picked off by Greg Inglis underneath the goalpost. He'll play the ball a couple of metres out from the northern end of the field goalpost, with the low scoreboard registering South Sydney 42, Roosters 10, 6.5 to go in the game. And interesting you talk about McGuinness. Of course, he signed with the Dragons at one stage last year.
Did he?
And then, he'd signed, and then of course they let Isaac go to the Isaac Luke go to the Warriors.
Yep.
And they said to McGuinness, we don't want you to go. And so back he went to because Maguire knew what he had, so they had faith in him. Now it's up to him to return the faith. As Cook goes back to the left side of the field, it comes to Walker, who pumps this one straight down the other end of the field. It'll go dead, because at that side of the field is where all the heavy equipment comes in. If you kick to that end, it'll finish up rolling to the cricket ground if they don't have any gates, but they have. And the Roosters will get a 7 tackle.
So what
sets.
happens on that end? You're saying that's where all the heavy equipment comes
in?
Well,
all the equipment, the rollers and the mowers.
So you're saying it bounces more on that end?
Well, it's certainly, it seems to, every time you kick to that end, it seems to run on very quickly, yes.
Peggy, are you with Thirsty on this one?
Oh, I don't know, Thirsty, if that's the reason or not.
It's because the rollers come in there.
Well, no,
but I'll tell you what it is. All 4 corners from, I think it's about the try line or 10 metres to the dead ball will all roll. They're all run at an angle.
But I always found that when a ball goes to that corner, which is the the southeastern corner, it does seem to roll a lot more than the other three corners. But anyway, I may be wrong.
No,
I've called a lot of football here, though.
I have learnt a lot off you in a short period of time, and I'm learning again today.
Yeah. Anyway, penalty to the Roosters there. Not that it makes much difference at the moment. 5 to go in the game. Low scoreboard. South 42, Roosters 10. A lot of the Roosters fans have already left. Not many South fans have left, funny enough, as they get ready to take on Newcastle next week. The Roosters travel to the nation's capital to play Canberra. Ball comes to Lou. Second man play to Nicarima. He floats along past to Burgess, who has to wait half an hour to gather it in. And finally, Joe Burgess is going to be tackled, and he'll play the ball about 22 metres out from South's line. 12 in from touch. The ball is played. It comes from Henderson to Hastings to Orbison. Away to Nicarima as they move the ball from the left side to the right side to Ferguson. A flick pass to Kenny Dowell. Kenny Dowell goes from the right side. He runs straight back to the left side. So they're basically back where they started this chain passing movement. But quick hands, it goes to Joe Burgess, looking for a hat-trick. Did the Englishman get it down? No. It's a forward pass and into touch. And the cover defence got there, I must admit. Grevesmill was one of them who got across there, and I think you'll find Damien Cook was the other. But I'll tell you what, they'd almost stripped them for numbers. Copley did well to time the pass, but the cover made sure that... he didn't even get to the goal line. Yeah. Grevesmill and Cook did very well, and the Englishman was in touch and never grounded the ball.
He put a little in the way on there, but then he sort of lost his way and ran into touch. He's got a bit of I don't know if it's a bit of blood down on his right side of his face or not, but he looks a good player to me. I like the look of him.
He would have found it different playing here today than at Wigan. The temperature's a lot different.
Oh, yeah, poor bugger. He scored 2 tries on his debut. We'll be happy with that.
Time now for the continuous call team's Man of the Match award, thanks to Harvey Norman and Bryden's lawyers. And what are we going to see? A knock on here? And in fact, South Sydney have knocked it on, and we're going to see the Roosters get a scrum feed 10 metres out in the goal line. South Sydney knocked it on after they'd won the scrum following Burgess being bundled into touch or losing the ball over the line. Shortly, Darryl or I will give you 3 players who are in the running for the Bryden's lawyers and Harvey Norman Man of the Match. And when you hear them, be one of the first 3 callers through on the 2GB prize line, 1300 722 873. The first caller will have the first choice of the 3 players and so on until all the players are allocated. As the ball comes out the right side for the Roosters to Ferguson. And Ferguson, I tell you what, he's going to go close to the touch line. He's tackled about 8 metres out on the goal line. Ball's going to be played to Kenny Dowell. They swing it back the open side to Nicarima. In turn, it's fed to Guerra. Guerra goes straight and hard. He's taken by Cook and 2 others. He'll play the ball 10 metres out in the goalpost. Low scoreboard. South 42, Roosters 10, 2.5 to go in the game. It's fed to Hastings. Hastings gets the ball away out on this left side of the field to Lulawai, and Lulawai is going to be tackled about 5 or 6 metres out from the goal line. They've had tackle 3. Ball's going to be played to Henderson, who's in at hooker. He runs one way, goes on his own to Henderson. He's tackled just short of the line. 2 tackles left in this set. Lulawai, I tell you, he's a big lump of a lad to be playing dummy half. Ball fed out now to Hastings. Hastings props, stops, gives it out. A loopy pass that comes to Ferguson. Ferguson tries to get through on his own. He can't. Good tackle, puts him down 8 metres out on the goal line. Last play, Ferguson got twisted a bit in that tackle. He's not 100%. Ball goes then to Nicarima. He puts a grubber kick in and backing back towards the goalpost. Grevesmill falls on it under the post, and as a result, South Sydney come up with the ball, and now they go for a gallop out of dummy half through Inglis. Now, when I announce the continuous call team's Man of the Match, the caller who has that player will win $150 thanks to Bryden's lawyers. Call 1300 722 873 for your chance to win $150, all thanks to Bryden's lawyers, the name you know, and the lawyers you can trust, and Harvey Norman. And the 3 players as nominated by the big man: Adam Reynolds, Paul Carter, Greg Inglis. Adam Reynolds, Paul Carter, Greg Inglis, the 3 players as nominated by the big man. And that number to ring again is 1300 722 873 for your chance to win the money in this week's Harvey Norman and Bryden's lawyers, the Man of the Match competition.
Dave, just having a look at Blake Ferguson, he looks lean to me, but he's going to need to be because he's going to play a season at fullback. He's got to do a lot of work at fullback. He's been good today. He's tried hard, but for mine, he's lacked a bit of zip. I think he's going to need to, adjust to it. It's a big adjustment. We saw it with Brett Morris last year when he tried it.
42 points to 10 in favour of Souths over the Roosters here as Kenny Dowell makes a half break on the low scoreboard. Now, Peggy, I'm not sure there. John Sutton did he indicate he might have a pectoral muscle problem?
Yeah, he's gone straight up the tunnel. I was watching the play, so we see a penalty to the Roosters with 27 seconds left on the clock. Yeah, Johnny Sutton, he was indicating to the trainer he'd done something to his pec. his pectoral muscle in his chest, so he's gone straight up the tunnel. So even though they've won the Bunnies, they've certainly had a few injuries this afternoon.
No, it's only pectoral muscle, mate. The pectoral's what you get when they take the X-ray.
Is it?
Oh, this is
so
one
he
of your
knows
best
his stuff. Mr. Pedant.
No, there was a certain coach a few years ago who called them pectorials all the time. And someone would say, what's going to happen tomorrow when you get the picture on the X-ray? Now, a kick downfield to finish the game. Is it going to be Inglis? Yes, it is. Who knocks the ball dead over the dead ball line. And that's all she wrote. The Rabbitohs open the season with another big win over the Roosters. It's 42 points to 10. Tries to Inglis, Johnston, Goodwin, Hunt, Gray, McInnes, Carter and Turner. Reynolds and Goodwin each kick goals. Reynolds 4 from 6 and Goodwin 1 from 2. And for the Roosters, 2 tries to Joe Burgess and Mitchell, 1 goal from 2 attempts. So in the end, a pretty comfortable victory to South Sydney. They dominated basically on the back of all the possession during the hot part of the day when they raced away to lead 26-0 at half time. And Darryl, a pretty good victory for them in the end as they get ready for Newcastle next week. The Roosters have to lick their wounds and travel to the nation's capital. That won't be easy either.
Not at all. They'll be delighted with that, the Rabbitohs. 42 points to 10 over arch rivals. It's one of their bigger wins. I think it's a fantastic performance from them. They had all the stuff go their way in the first half. They had all the ball, but they did the job. They scored, I think, 5 tries in the first half, which was good enough to put the Roosters away. Roosters in the second half, look, they tried, but they never looked like it. They scored 2 tries through Joe Burgess. They'll need to regroup because they'd be very disappointed with that. Really disappointed with that.
Mark Riddell, he's down there out in the centre of the park. Is that Paul Carty?
No, Cameron McInnes.
Cameron McInnes, a bit hard to see from here.
Yeah, boys, down here with Cameron. Cameron, you must be pleased with the effort from the boys today.
Yeah, mate, really pleasing. Obviously, the way we came out, running hard and hitting them, and that's what we wanted to do, just be real physical and impose ourselves. And I thought we worked really hard for each other, so that's what you want to see round 1.
What about yourself, mate? We'll give you a fair few raps up there, especially that period where you got away from the Roosters. You've got an opportunity in the number 9 jersey now. You want to make it your own.
Yeah, definitely, mate. That's what I'm here for. I want that number 9 jersey. In saying that, Cookie's come over and he's a great player as well, so we're working well together. But that's my goal, just to lock that up. So I'm going to be doing my best every week to make that happen.
Yeah, what did Madge have to say? 26-0 up at half time. Sometimes as a player, it's a bit hard to come out and try and have that same enthusiasm for the second half.
No, that's exactly what he said. He said, obviously keep doing what we were doing, but we want to be a team that keeps going on with it. We don't want to be a team that let them back into it and make it hard for ourselves. So, I thought we came out and we really put the foot on the throat. There were a few moments there where we need to be better, but overall I think we really went on with it.
Congratulations and good luck next week.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Cameron McInnes downstairs with Mark Piggy Riddell. Mark Levy back in the chair, and a fantastic call by the boys, both Darryl Broman, David Morrow and Mark Riddell down on the touchline. We're with you for another 10 minutes so Piggy can catch up with a few more players. 42 points to 10. South Sydney's defeated the Roosters in front of a crowd of 25,125. We'll get to the man of the match competition in just a moment. And as Billy mentioned earlier on, for Shimano in the Holden Cup on the Gold Coast, Newcastle 34, Titans 18. And we'll get another preview from Billy in a couple of minutes' time. And that game kicks off in about 25 minutes' time from Seabus Super Stadium, the Gold Coast Titans and the Newcastle Knights. But a comprehensive win in the end by the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Darryl, 42 points to 10. Not a bad way to start the season.
Oh, they'll be delighted with that, Mark. I was saying that before. They put away their arch rivals who are, probably around the same mark betting-wise in the competition, and they've done it quite easily. 26-0 at half-time. I don't think anyone would have expected that, but they did it, and they did it with a bit of ease. They didn't look under any pressure at any stage. They completed well, and in general, I reckon Michael Maguire will be very happy with that start to the season.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Bunnies just heading over to their faithful over on the eastern side of the field. Piggy Riddell, they brushed your champion.
Oh, mate, they were all in a group and they've just said they're going to head over to go and cheer on their fans. Unfortunately for me, the cord doesn't extend that far and their fans happen to be in the furthest part away from me.
And also you're lazy, you don't want to walk that far.
I was right there. So GI's sort of talking with
that's all right.
Another guy. See if I can grab him. I'm not sure we've got time.
Not a problem. No, we've got plenty of time. Another 10 minutes before we got to go. 42-10. South Sydney beat the Roosters. 26-0 they led at half-time. The crowd 25,000. 125. Not too bad for a Sunday afternoon at the footy here at Allianz Stadium. And just recapping the New South Wales Cup results for you a little earlier on that David mentioned for you for Shimano. Wentworthville 28 beat Wyong 18. New South Wales Cup full-time, North Sydney 28, Newcastle 12. And in the Queensland Cup, I can give you some scores on that for you as well. Sunshine Coast over Northern Pride in a tight one, 25-24 at Sunshine Coast Stadium for Shimano. Tweed Heads beat East Tigers 28-24 at Pigavine Sports. And at PNG over South Logan 36-18. That was played at Davies Park as well. Downstairs we go. Piggy Riddell's got the big fullback for the Bunnies, Greg Inglis.
I certainly do. I've got the skipper. Greggy, you must be happy with the boys and how they perform the Savo.
Oh, definitely. Like any other teams, 15 teams out there that, went through the grueling pre-season. I couldn't be more happy than the boys. Our forwards laid the platform for our backs to come in and do what they got to do.
You mentioned the pre-season. What about yourself? Would it have been enjoyable for you to have a whole pre-season? I know they're not enjoyable, but...
Oh, mate, you know what? It was. It was good to get back amongst the boys for so long, and instead of coming back just for, that 8 weeks or so. So, it's great to be back, a month before Christmas break and then get back into it. So, we've got a lot of new faces, and, there's a lot of work with combinations and that as well. So, it was quite enjoyable to get back in there, and a lot of young faces, a lot of new faces as well.
You must have been impressed with the start. Now, obviously you would have backed yourselves to win, but to come out 26-0 at half-time, would have been very pleased with that.
Look, we just wanted to come in and stick to our process for the 80 minutes, and like I said before, I couldn't credit the boys enough for that.
Congratulations on the win, mate. Go and enjoy it with the boys.
Thanks.
Greg Inglis with Mark Piggy Riddell downstairs. Rightio to the man of the match competition we go for Bryden's Lawyers and Harvey Norman. Tom from Emerald up in Queensland chose Paul Carter. Scott from Como went with Adam Reynolds. David from Canberra went with that man Greg Inglis. Darryl Broman, who's your man of the match for Harvey Norman and Bryden's Lawyers?
Well, even though he didn't play all the game, probably only played about 50-odd minutes, I thought Adam Reynolds was the best player on the field. I thought he just dominated everything that the Bunnies did, particularly in the first half when they put the Roosters away. 26-0 at half-time. I thought he was fantastic. His kicking game was good again. His general organisation was good, and I thought he was the best player on the field. So Adam Reynolds, congratulations, you're our man of the match.
Yep, fair enough too, Darryl. Scott from Como chose Adam Reynolds, and Adam Reynolds is the continuous call team's man of the match, thanks to Bryden's Lawyers and Harvey Norman. That player's won a $200 Harvey Norman gift voucher, and you've won $150 from our good friends at Bryden's Lawyers, the name you know and the lawyers you can trust. Stay listening for our next game for another chance to win. It's all thanks to Bryden's Lawyers and Harvey Norman. I've just got the studio talking to me down my ears. Just repeat it, boys. I didn't catch you that last time. Okay, we can go around the grounds to Billy in just a moment and preview that game that comes up in about 20 minutes' time between the Gold Coast and the Newcastle Knights. We'll do that in a moment. Mark Piggy Riddell's downstairs. Piggy, I might give you a little early, Mark, mate. Just in summary, good victory to the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and Roosters a bit to work on before their next game.
Yeah, exactly right. I think the Bunnies were very, very good this afternoon. Certainly looked a lot more organised. I agree with Darryl. I thought Adam Reynolds was very, very good when he was out on the field. That's what I just wanted to talk about quickly. I spoke to Renaud after the game to see if I could grab an interview, and he could hardly talk. And I said, is your jaw all right? He wasn't very happy at all. So fingers crossed for the Bunnies fans and for Adam Reynolds that jaw of his is okay, but it didn't look good at all.
Did it sound sort of like this?
Well, mate, to be honest, he could hardly move his mouth, so he sort of mumbled to me. So I hope he's all right, because he's a great fella.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully he's just jarred and there's no break or anything, but obviously he'll have the mandatory scans. All right, mate, well, it sounded like a fantastic atmosphere down there. 25,000 people, not a bad afternoon to spend on the sideline.
Yeah, it was really good. Beautiful afternoon. I was in the shade, so it was okay, and we had a great atmosphere, as you said. Probably died off a little bit in that second half, but always a great occasion when the Bunnies are playing the Roosters. All right, mate. I'll see you Friday night in the interactive studio. Thanks a lot, boys. That's Mark Riddell down on the touchline, and of course does a fantastic job on all the different programs that he participates in, namely the continuous call team. Footy tabs through. South Sydney over the Roosters, 42 points to 10, $881.80. $881.80 on the score, 42 points to 10. So that takes us to tonight's game between the Gold Coast Titans and the Newcastle Knights. It's being played at Seabus Super Stadium. Getting underway in about 20 minutes. Let's head around the grounds for Sydney Markets and preview all of the action. Billy McGee, good evening to you.
Mark, a very good evening to you and everyone listening. Well, these two sides tipped to be amongst the also-rans this year, but they'll be wanting to prove the experts wrong. The Gold Coast and Newcastle Newcastle have gone through plenty of change during the off-season as they look to improve from last year. The Titans have a new look halves pairing with Tyrone Roberts, who plays against his old club, linking up with Ash Taylor. Chris McQueen also plays his first game for the Gold Coast after signing from South Sydney. While Nathan Brown returns to the NRL as he takes charge of the Knights, and he's injected plenty of youth. 5 players make their first grade debut, while another 2, Trent Hodkinson and Paulie Paulie, play their first game for the club. Team changes for this game, and for the Gold Coast, there's no Will Zillman. David Mead shifts to fullback. John Olive will make his club debut in jersey 20, signing from South Sydney. He will play on the wing. For Newcastle, Lachlan Fitzgibbon drops off the bench. Daniel Safiti will make his debut in jersey number 18. The referees for this match, Henry Perinara and Chris James. In the bunker, Brian Norrie and Matt Checken. The touch judges are Clayton Sharp and Peter Goff. In the Holden Cup, Newcastle too strong, beating the Titans 34 points to 18. But the main game kicking off at 6:30, 5:30 in Queensland at Seabus Super Stadium between the Gold Coast Titans and the Newcastle Knights.
Good on you, Billy. Job well done, mate. We'll hear your updates with Natalie Peters and Michael Packy, who come up in about 3 or 4 minutes' time. For our listeners on 2GB, 4BC and 2CC, our other network stations will be rejoining normal programming. So South Sydney 26-0. They led at half-time and they went on to register a 42-10 win over the Roosters. 25,125 the crowd. Adam Reynolds named the continuous call team's man of the match, thanks to Bryden's lawyers and Harvey Norman. Darryl, this game coming up, Gold Coast and Newcastle. I made reference to it in the first hour of the program, the Savo, that there's only one way up for them, that one way to head for them, and that's up because of their shocking seasons last year. How do you see this one panning out?
Look, I've tipped the Titans, but I mean, as the betting would show, it's pretty much an even money bet here. I've clearly got no idea. But I tipped the Titans because they're at home, and they've built up okay. They've had a few injuries, pre-season injuries, which hasn't helped, but I think at home they might be hard to beat, so I'm tipping the Titans.
And then on Monday night, tomorrow night, we've got St George Illawarra and Melbourne. The Dragons haven't won in Victoria since '99. Well,
I'll tip Melbourne. It's hard. I don't think you have to be a genius to do that. In saying that, I know Piggy's gone for the Dragons. He's very loyal, Piggy.
He's very loyal.
Stupid sometimes.
David Morray, your Dragons, any hope tomorrow night?
Oh, they're a hope, but I would suggest that Melbourne's record in Melbourne's pretty good. The Dragons haven't beaten them since the playoffs in 1999. Then the Dragons lost the grand final, and since then there's been that incredible 70-10 loss to Melbourne. The closest they went the first game that Wayne Bennett had them for. They went to extra time, and I think it was Greg Inglis might have even won the game for the Storm.
I think he did
from memory. So
might have run over the top of Jamie Soward, I think.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was the basic. That's the only time they've looked like winning down there. But in saying that, they're a chance, and who knows? But you just got to go for Melbourne. Yeah. If Slater plays, they're going to have Slater, Smith and Cronk back.
Yep, it looks like he will play, which is fantastic. You got a lot of fans out here, Darryl. A lot of fans.
They're everywhere.
I love their selfies. Yeah. I look forward to seeing you.
I've only had one. That's not that many.
Oh, there's a few of them that took photos with you. You didn't know. You didn't realise. Yeah. So looking ahead to next week, Thursday night football's at Penrith, the foot of the mountains, the Panthers and the Bulldogs. Friday night we'll be in the interactive studio for the Broncos and the Warriors. Saturday afternoon, score updates with Ray and the gang between Canberra and Roosters. We'll call South Sydney and Newcastle. That's the game that David will do from ANZ Stadium. I'm off to Pertec with Chris Warren for Parramatta and the Cowboys. And Shark Park on Sunday for the Sharks and the Dragons. We'll call that game for you. Monday night or Sunday night football is Melbourne and the Titans, and then Monday football next week is West Tigers and the Seagulls. That's it for our first weekend, Darryl. It's been fun.
Has been. It's always fun.
It is.
Actually doing this and getting paid for it. It's ridiculous, isn't
it?
Good stuff, Rusty.
See you, buddy.
See you, mate.
See you next week. Bye-bye, David.
See you Friday night.
Looking forward to it, mate. I'll see you then. And Piggy Riddell, he's popped up to the box to say hello. Thank you, Piggy. We'll see you on Friday night as well. So a big win in the end to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. 42 points to 10 over the Sydney Roosters in front of a crowd of 25,125. Adam Reynolds named the continuous call team, Harvey Norman and Bryden's compensation lawyers man of the match. And it was a fantastic performance by South Sydney, and a lot to like about them moving forward throughout this Telstra Premiership. Score updates to come through Billy McGee for that other game. We'll talk to you Friday night when the interactive studio for round 2 of the Telstra Premiership. Enjoy your week.